All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the True Crime Cafe, guys. And here we are back in Idaho today for the review and open discussion in regard to the motions hearing. We did somewhat of one yesterday, and I got many requests to do it today. So we're going to head in and break it down and see what we come up with today, guys. So thank you guys for joining me. Please make sure to hit the like button, share this out, let everybody know what we're doing in here, and bring them all back with you, guys. Let them know we got a wide open door and we're ready to break it down, talk about it, and see what we come up with. So thank you guys again so much for being here. Hit the like button on your way through the door, share it out. Let's get this show on the road. Hello, governors, and welcome back to the cafe. It is great to be here with you all, and I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you guys that joined us this morning on the morning show. I appreciate that very much. We got into a little bit of discussion about some of it, but I wanted to save it all for this show today, here and now. Plenty of people have plenty of things to talk about, and that's a fact. So come on in. Get comfortable. Grab your place, your spot. Grab some coffee, tea, whatever it may be. Please come in here, guys, and have a conversation with me about this. I appreciate it. And I'm going to pin a link in the chat right now to bring anybody in and up that would like to join. It's always better to talk about it voice to voice, in my opinion. So let's see who we got with us so far today. Joining us for this, Peaky X, welcome back to you. Under and over it. Great to see you. Great to have you here. Looks like Tandy and the Seahawks fan back in the house. Good to see you. Stormy Jane, always a pleasure, dear. Great to have you here. Thank you very much. Lily Rose, welcome back to you. LR, Mittens for Kittens. T-Revs, Moobs in the house. All right. Thank you for joining us. Suzanne Smith, good to see you. Angel D, good to see you. B Geek is in the house from Tennessee. Thank you for joining us. Eva 22, great to see you. That weird guy Dago's in here. LR, great to have you back. Under and over it, great to see you. Alicia J's in the house. Welcome back to you. Eddie's in the house. One maiden nut. Miss JC Ann, always a pleasure. Lisa and Cannoli, welcome back to you guys. Unspoken Heart Stillness, good to see you. Good to have you here. Miss Paula, always a pleasure, dear. Wonderful to see you. Papa G, Papa P. Good to see you. Good to have you back, brother. Thank you for joining us today. Crime Mobsters, Mr. Steven, good to see you, bro. Let me see. Julianne, good to see you, dear. Thank you for being here. Mountain Mama. If I said it wrong, sorry. Good to see you, Mountain Mama. Good to have you here. CZ's in the house. Good to have you back, CZ. Good to see you. Wade Bird 77, welcome back, brother. Good to see you today. Let me catch up. Sweetie Pie number 30, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Or Sweetie Pie 30, I'm sorry, there's no number there. Miss Lacey's in the house. Bemmy Rose, great to see you. Karma Police is in the house. Y'all better behave today. Tammy C, thank you for joining us today. And our Phil is in the house. I hope you're feeling better, Phil. Um, hopefully I'll get a good laugh out of Phil today. Bonnie Bailey, my love, good to see you. Wonderful to have you back. Always a pleasure. Phil, it's great to have you here. I hope you're doing good. SRBBBB, good to see you. Dark Fay Child, hello and welcome. There is our SRB. Unknown Oscar, hello. Are you alive? I don't know. Are you? Miss Sherry's in the house. Good to see you. Thank you for being here, Miss Sherry. All right, come on down here. Papa G Appa P. I love that name. It's really kind of fun to say. I don't see. She's not here yet. Dragonfly, welcome back to you. We got a lot of white in here, guys. We got to get some more meatballs in this sauce with us. Come on in, guys. Doc, good to see you. Welcome back. Vintage Violet, hello and welcome. Always a pleasure. I don't think it's against terms. Red Riding Hood, come on in. Great to have you here. And our mama bear's in the house. Yes, she is. And just in case, let me see. What I find funny, guys, is when people that don't like us come in here. That makes no sense to me. Does it make any sense to you? I don't get it. You know, like if you don't like somebody, why go around them? It's weird. So weird. It just shows how weird people are. Let me see. Nancy Pecoraro, welcome and greetings to you. And there is our Mama Bear's link, guys. Please check her out. And Patum, the first contestant of today is Miss JC Ann. Hello, how are you? Welcome. Yeah.
Hi.
How are you, JC?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for asking.
I don't have to. I have a day off. Yes.
That's even more of a round of applause. That's awesome. Yes, good for you.
Yes, and the place to myself for a while. So.
That's amazing too.
Yeah.
You deserve a day off for sure.
I'm just
Rowena,
relaxing.
the musical contessa. Good to see you. El Bariqua, Miss Rowena, good to have you here. Come on in, everybody. Go grab a chair. There's plenty of them here. We got a couch over here and a bed over there, love seat, couple recliners, whatever you want. Find your
Lazy boys.
yeah, there's a couple of milk crates back here if you want to sit on those, whatever you want. Lazy boys. God, that'd be wonderful. I had one to sit here at my desk like that. You know what I mean, JC?
Right.
That'd be sweet. Matt M. Lowe, hello and welcome. Good to see you, Tammy C.
The gaming chairs are pretty comfortable, though, aren't they?
You know what? This is an office chair. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's an older, expensive one. They were expensive then, but I got it for nothing. I got a gaming chair that was given to me, and the red and white one. I don't know if you remember it. I used to sit in it a while back. That is not anywhere near as comfortable as this thing is. Now, if you remember the one that Clue bought, she showed online, that thing, according to them, is stupid comfortable. It looks really comfortable. It's kind of like anatomically correct. And you know I got a bad back, so I'm constantly moving around and shifting and stuff. So this is probably so far the most expensive or most comfortable one I've had. But like you're always noticing that I'll be sitting here and I do this with my camera a lot because I'm standing up and down and
Because
twisting.
you have to stand up, yeah.
Constantly. So hopefully I'll find one that will work for me. I need a new one. I do because I sit so much. It kills my back. But
yeah, when we had to go when we got sent home to work,
Mm-hmm.
when the thing hit.
Yeah.
Um, I bought a gaming chair and a desk, and
Right.
I really didn't know how the gaming chair was going to be, but I got it. My sister works at Wayfair,
Okay.
and so I got kind of a discount on it.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, the gaming chair was really, really. I mean, as far as I know, as far as I thought it was, good enough to sit in and do my work at, and also be comfortable and relaxed. So for me, that's a thing because I have to have like a certain, type of chair because I'm so short, I think.
Yep.
And I don't like slick, and I like the leather,
Yeah.
or the leather or the cloth, but not like um not
The
like the just the slick stuff, but like
suede
the
leather.
yeah, like the holy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
like
got.
the breathable stuff. And I thought, I don't know. I just thought that this particular gaming shirt was just really set up well for me, and I made
Mm-hmm.
it work, and then
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. So I don't have it in my apartment now because my apartment's too small, but I'm moving in 2 weeks, so I'll probably set my desk and my chair up in my bedroom in my new place.
That's awesome. Good. Good. I wish you luck on
Yeah.
that.
Oh
Bemmy
yeah, it'll
Rose.
be for the better.
Good. Good
I'm
stuff.
excited to go back to my old roommates.
There you go. There you go. Bemmy Rose gifted 5 memberships already, guys, and it looks like Elizabeth Wagner, Jennifer Taylor, Crime Solver, Kimmy Strickland, North Carolina, and Devil Doll 666 were all gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Bemmy. God bless. That's very generous of you. And congratulations to all you new meatballs. We got 5 new meatballs floating in the sauce with us already, guys. That's amazing. Thank you again, Bemmy. Very much appreciated. And that goes to anybody out there. Thank you to anyone that has over the past any time, recently we had a lot of it donated any memberships, super chats, super stickers donated to the Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, any of that stuff to support the channel. We never ever expect it from you guys, but we definitely do appreciate it, guys. It keeps me going daily, and I very much appreciate it, guys, more than you know. So thank you for that very, 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 very much. Looks like
Looks like
Papa G just dropped one too. Five more. Guys, make sure that little dollar sign, you click into that and you are able to receive gifts, and you'll get these as they get gifted out, by the way. It looks like Papa G gifted 5. Went to Becky Strider, J Lord, Tracy with an E, January Milliken, Jennifer Taylor. Nope. Yeah. Jennifer Taylor got one from Bemmy. Jessica D, Becky Strider, J Lord, and Tracy with an E, and January Milliken. Congrats to you guys. And Papa G, thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate that very much. You have no idea. God bless. Welcome, Donkey. Good to see you. Circus Music. That was amazing of both of you. So generous, so amazing. God bless you guys. There was an echo, guys. I think she fixed it. It was coming through. I think I was coming through her speaker, so it's okay. Again, thank you, sir. And ma'am, appreciate that very, very much. Donnie D's in the house. What's happening? Good to see you, brother. Thank you for
Hey,
joining us.
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Very well. Very well.
Okay.
All right. Miss Tara, welcome to you. I'm trying to jump in to make sure I got everybody. Bemmy Rose again, thank you very much. That was very generous. Yes. Fettuccine's in the house. Forget about it. Good to see you. Circus Music, good to see you. eBay 22, I think I already said it. Jennifer Taylor, welcome, and welcome to the sauce, Jen. Excuse me. Miss Lacey. Anybody I may have missed, I'm trying to catch up now, guys. I promise you I don't do it on purpose. There's a lot of you guys in here right now, so I'm trying to catch up. Hold on. Why are they sealing something to do with timing records? Because they don't want anybody to see that now. A little late, but all right. And again, guys, there's a link pinned at the top of the chat. Um, If you would like to join me and Miss JC, Mr. Donnie D, um, you're welcome to jump up here and voice your feelings, your opinion, your thoughts, your theories. And that's everybody. That's what we want, guys. Everybody will be able to do that here. If you're new to the channel, that's what we expect is everybody to be able to feel comfortable enough to voice their feelings, thoughts, opinions, theories, whatever. Don't worry, because you will not be attacked. If you are, whoever does it will not be here. We don't put up with that in here. Everybody has the rights to their own feelings and their own thoughts, and that's that. Welcome,
Hey,
Echo.
Dago, I was
Yes.
thinking about something. Have
Uh
they
oh.
ever, I was thinking about it this morning a minute ago. Have they ever linked any of the Pippa Rogers stuff in this case? We even heard about it or anything in the hearings or anything. I was wondering if they've connected any of that.
It's never come up at any of the hearings. No.
Yeah, so
I've been
it's
thinking
going to be
about that
wild to know if
too
that comes out at
recently.
trial, though.
Oh, hold on. What'd you say there? Yeah, Donnie, I heard what you said, buddy. It would be crazy. And would you say, JC? I'm sorry.
I've just been thinking about that too lately. Like w- like it's like it was talked about and then it was just not.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been brought up since.
Right, right. Well, we've had a lot of that. Like, I even told you guys that with all this new stuff, welcome Whiteboard and
What's
Raquel. You
strange,
guys,
there's been no activity on it. That's what's even stranger. Been no activity, too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It could be that the person that was doing it got bored with it. They made their point. It could be that, you know, I don't know, but the Papa Rogers account was still active after Brian was arrested. So it doesn't. I don't believe it was him. I'm sure that they didn't give him a computer and say, "Go do your thing." You know what I mean? Mm.
It just was something I was thinking about and
No, it's
something that was
interesting.
always out there, but we never heard anything connected or anything more about it.
Nope, nothing. There isn't anything. And I haven't done it yet because I haven't had the time, but I have it written in my notes at the very top. Just for me personally, I am going to head back over to the Reddit and the 4chan stuff and review that again based on what has come out. Now, I want to see what that looks like at this point to me. And most of it I'm still going to believe is probably crazy, but I'm looking at everything now, you guys, everything. I'm going back and reviewing stuff that we've looked at in the very very beginning and just reprocessing different thoughts and stuff because I don't know what to trust, and it's obvious that I can't trust what we were told to trust the process. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. So I can't do it. I just
The
can't.
process is broken.
Yes, it is. That's a good way to put it too, Donnie. Or Don, I don't know if you what you like being called. I
Yeah,
nicknames you for what I
it's
see.
all good. It's all good.
Okay. I throw nicknames out for people all the time. If you notice, I do it just because I'm comfortable with it. And if you don't like it, let me know. Say that's not my name. Call me what I'm called, and that's that. So
I'm fine. I don't sweat that little stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I got you. Augusta, welcome. Good to see you. Swampos just did a video about it. Apparently, it was a hoax. What was the Papa Roger stuff or the 4chan stuff, Augusta? I see you too. Welcome to you. Whiteboard. Yeah, thank you, Stormy. Let me see here. Once again, thank you all for joining us. There's 139
Trigger
people
warning,
here,
trigger
guys.
warning. And another thing I've been thinking about too, Diego, we've never heard anything info about the other three autopsies of the other three victims either. No info on that either.
As far as what do you mean?
Like details, like stuff under
Mm,
the fingernails or any of that stuff.
we're not going to get that until the trial hits, in my opinion, Don. I
Okay.
don't see that happen at all.
Okay.
That would relinquish too much in um too much of important stuff that we would have to keep it on DL kind of to keep the integrity of the case,
Yeah,
I
because
think.
I don't want to bias.
Yeah. Yeah. Tara said you have to trust the process. Well, I can't anymore. I did. I tried that. I went with the PCA that they said trust it. Um it no.
It's a
It's been
lie.
lies. I can't trust
It's
lies
a
now.
lie.
So Go ahead, JC.
I just said it's a lie.
It is. It's garbage, and even the prosecution stated it's irrelevant. So there she is.
Do you
Welcome.
feel? I don't know about anybody here, but anybody in chat, everybody. I feel like this whole thing, like kind of like now, both sides are grasping at straws
Um.
in a way.
Yeah, in a way. The way you said it, yeah, in a way. I think that in some senses that I definitely feel the prosecution is, because I don't think
Mm-hmm.
they have anything. Now, I think that the way that the defense is doing it is because they're all the bullshit's being brought to the surface now, okay? And that's what they're put. I don't know that they're being. I don't feel that they're grasping at straws. I feel like they're bringing in some senses, the truth forward, and they're doing it because that's what they have to do at this point because there's been so much twisted by the prosecution.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like is going on at this point. Um,
And
no,
all I didn't listen to the whole thing obviously the other day, but what I mean, I can't do those things. Those are just so boring to me, and just it's I mean, I know they're necessary, but I don't really get anything out of them, I guess. But um I feel like Hitler is, I don't know. I feel like he's not.
I think he's mostly motioned out. He's getting
Oh,
motion.
wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
I mean, I have looked through, there's thousands of documents, you guys, thousands.
oh, and then some. Yeah.
And can you imagine? I was just thinking, how like when, like in other cases, how people go back to the file room and they get the boxes of files of the cases, and
Yeah, most I've ever seen.
like most cases, there's like a box of evidence and a box of files and stuff. Can you imagine how many boxes of files there's going to be for this case?
Oh
Like
God.
they're gonna have to have their own separate room for just this
Yeah. They're
case.
gonna fill rooms.
They're
Multiple
gonna
Yeah.
rooms.
they'll need a dump truck to transport the stuff. That's
And
a fact.
also I just feel like this entire case and this entire trial is gonna be an all out like brawl in a battle.
It will be to an extent. Yep, I agree with you on that too.
I
Definitely agree with
just
you. All
I
right.
mean I want to say a bloodbath, but that's kind of not appropriate for
Now, probably not, but I know where you're going with it. I mean, it's gonna be rough, guys. It's gonna be harsh. It's gonna be a rough trial. I can absolutely guarantee it. Maury's in the house. What's up, Detective Maury? Thank you for joining us. He has to write written orders on all motions filed. Yeah, it sucks to be him, but maybe he should have been nicer to people. Welcome back, Donnie. Good to
Hit the
see you,
wrong button.
Candy girl. Good to see ya. What'd you say, Don?
Hit the wrong button. I was looking at the chat, private chat, and I seen two things there. I went in there and I couldn't exit out.
Oh, it happens. It happens. I do it all the time. My mods are always yelling at me for hitting buttons. Always. The judge looking through his fingers, rubbing his head. I know. I mean, and I'll tell you right now, I've never seen, never.
Yeah, that
I've
emotion from a judge.
Yeah, right. I've never seen any judge in any hearing, trial, or anything it be as disrespectful, as rude, and ignorant as this guy is ever, ever. So, you know, if you don't like your job, retire. If you don't like the case, tell somebody. But it is what it is. So,
Well, and you have to expect to get cases like this when you're the biggest county in a state.
hmm yeah, it's not definitely not my first case. So, has anybody else ever seen a judge act so irritated and so blase?
Not emotional wise. I've never seen a judge put his hands on his face like that in my
Or,
life.
or sit
Oh
like
yeah, he's
this,
always got his hands on his face.
or yeah, that's what I mean.
It's
I'm
like
not.
why they're just wasting it. To me, it's like, well, you show that stuff, you're just basically saying that the defense is wasting their time.
Right. I mean, there's some cases I don't watch. I haven't watched the new Lori Vallow. I didn't watch Karen Reed. I've watched all these other cases. Hell, even the what was his name, you guys? Mama Bear, what was his name? Daryl Brooks? Yeah.
Yes.
That judge was an angel compared to like for what she
Whew.
had to deal with.
She
And she
had
did
nerves of steel, man.
right. She doesn't seem she should have been the one doing that kind of stuff, but she didn't. So I don't know.
And
I've
now
never
he's gonna
seen
try
And
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 Sarah
some judges are
Boone's
even stricter. Some judges are by the book, and they just have it. We're doing this, we're doing that. If you break beyond that, we're not going there.
Nope, you're right. And you're right, Tara. The judge isn't there to be an emotional support system, but he should also not be rude, disrespectful, and an asshole either. So there's that.
no.
Sarah Boone's judge was very, very kind and very, very patient. I don't know
Considering,
how he
Mhm.
I don't know how he did that, but that was crazy.
yes, Kylie, welcome. Miss Pebbles is in the house. Judge Bev, wait, where'd it go? Judge Bev from Karen Reed is really bad. Really? See, I didn't watch that one, so I don't know. Um, I'd seen little bits and pieces, but I didn't follow it.
And
Ballpark, welcome to you.
Daryl
Don't
Brooks
the
is
judges like what he's in? Don't they get elected in that position?
I believe so.
yes.
Yeah, get voted
Yeah.
in.
He's got the personality of a piece of cardboard. So, I mean, I've been calling him probably immature, but he reminds me of Voldemort.
Daryl Brooks is possibly gonna be doing it again.
Oh, Jesus. Are you kidding me?
No, because I put something in Discord the other day and I was like, not again.
Yeah.
Guess he doesn't
I,
like his attorney.
oh, well, surprise. Him and Sarah Boone should hook
Him and
up.
Sarah.
Right?
I am me. Welcome. Good to see you.
That's not a
Cat
shocker.
lover. I heard that. I saw that cat lover, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Maybe he's been told that, and I don't know, but I don't believe it. I think if that was the case, we would have seen or heard about that. Ben BG, welcome to you. Oh yeah, by all means, probably.
Oh, when
This
this
one's
case
going
is
down.
done, it's going to be millions. This case is going to cost the state millions.
Oh wait. Now I will say the Young Thug trial. That was a whole different story. Like that was almost comedic in some ways. I don't remember the judge acting that way though. I did watch pieces of
Remember
that
that.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that
just
was
talking about.
almost comedic.
It was really. In fact, I think I played some of
Yeah.
the witness testimonies that were kind of comedic in that sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was the most expensive. I got you. This one's pretty up there money wise, but if that one costs more than this, that's crazy.
Location can have a lot to say about that too.
Total corruption and lies. Yes. Oh, people can try to be rude to me. I'm not in the mood for it. So you're gonna get snapped back from me if you do. So just so you know. Because I at this point doesn't matter to me. Big panel of known callers tonight. Unknown caller the second. Oh, welcome to you. Good to see you. Let's see here. Where we are, where we be. Just trying to catch up with everybody. Josie West, welcome, dear. Good to see you tonight. Glad you could make it tonight. The judge seems so disinterested, and it's yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and it's known he didn't want to be there. He said it in the very beginning. I didn't want this case. You know what I'm saying? That's great, but you got it now, so you need to act more professional, in my opinion. That's all. Thank you, Miss Tandy.
The next hearing's the 16th, right?
No, like I said, I didn't watch it. Yeah, I believe it's the 16th. I didn't watch it. I watched clips from it, so they recused the original. Oh, see, there you go. He must have been being
There's
an ass.
they're state employees though, aren't they? So aren't they salaried?
I believe, especially a judge. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do believe. I don't think there's hourly wage for
Yeah,
judges. They're
yeah.
all
It's a
salary.
set salary. They
There'd
usually get so much.
have to
Yeah,
be
they only get so
salaried.
much a year.
Right. Absolutely. Welcome, Kelly Coker. Yep, next Wednesday, Rose says on the 16th. Absolutely. And we will be here. I promise, as long as it's televised.
Hello,
Yes,
Steven.
we got the
I
mom on
wonder
it.
how many more cases they have though than this. You know what I mean?
Well, they're running another death penalty case right now, I do believe, aren't they? Mm,
I'm shocked because Ann Taylor said Wednesdays are not a good day for her schedule, too. You
well,
remember that a while back?
yeah. I kind of feel bad for Anne. She seemed a little bit out of it, like I had stated earlier, and come to find out she had just buried her mother 4 days before that hearing. So that's kind of sad to me. And he wasn't being very nice to her on top of that. I mean, I know it's not his responsibility to worry about her personal life, but it didn't help her, is what I'm saying. I don't think, with the stress she probably was already going
Yeah,
through.
plus that travel, all that travel those people are doing, too.
Right.
Is Lori's trial in Arizona?
I haven't been following it. I can find out for you, but I don't know. She was handed the death penalty case. She didn't. I don't think she had a choice in it. Truly, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they tell her, "This is your caseload. This is what
Yeah.
you need to do." I'm not. I didn't mean that she has another death penalty case. I mean the judge, I think, is overseeing other cases too. So,
Because
you,
Was Chad's trial in Idaho?
yeah, I remember
Okay.
the filings and all the documents. I used to have to go past his to get to Brian. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm good trouble. Welcome. Good to see you. Let's see here. I'm just trying to catch up with everybody in here. Oh, does she whiteboard? I didn't know that. Okay. Well, like I said, I'm pretty sure they hand those to her. I don't think that she has a choice. That's her job as a public defender.
Yep.
It's like you go into work and they say, "Here's what you're doing today. Here you go." And if you're carrying more than one case, this case is probably one of the heaviest. That's a lot. That's a whole lot of work. So,
Yeah. I
especially
bet you
with what
never
she's got to take.
sleeps.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Hold on one moment.
Yeah, telemarker's been calling us, too.
Hey,
All right.
Josie.
Sorry, that was my son's school calling.
That hasn't been, I don't think that's been
So
determined yet.
BK is guilty AF. We need some common sense here. Have you followed any of it? I see you too. Read the documents. Read the documents and then come back and say that. I'm telling you, it goes the opposition to that, in my opinion. So you're entitled to your opinion, though. I respect it. That doesn't mean that there's no common sense here. It just means that you have a different opinion than others. So there's no need to be rude. Let's see.
He's not guilty until the trial's over.
I don't know that I got a ruling on that yet, Noel, for sure. I'm not 100%. We'll
I
check
haven't heard anything
you want to
if it
run
was
this,
or
though?
not.
Hold on here. And review this along with what we're talking about with the hearing, because there's some parts of this that are kind of interesting based on what they said.
He needs to allow size document.
All right, here we go. Thank you for joining us again, Mama Bear. That was a surprise, a happy surprise.
Yes,
I
hello, Mama
think
Bear.
that's
Very nice to have you, all three of you, up here with me. Miss JC, Mr.
it's
Donnie.
always a pleasure. There you go.
It's always an honor to have you guys here. All right, let's check this out, guys. Review this, discuss this, and then I want to discuss some things within the hearing as well, because that's what was requested. Thank you, Stormy. All right, and we're off.
Allow the state to label him in testimony. as a psychopath or a sociopath.
Brian KOHBERGER's lawyers and prosecutors in a marathon hearing over evidence ahead of his August trial, and the judge was not holding back.
Okay. But you've made some serious accusations against the state of hiding evidence, and yet you've provided no factual basis, zero, that evidence existed.
And prosecutors are firing back at the defense.
We have a lot better aggravating evidence than the fact that he has level 1 autism.
I go through some of the new details that we've learned about the case. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. It was a long, long day in court for Brian KOHBERGER, his lawyers, and prosecutors as they argued over what evidence the jury would hear at his trial this summer. KOHBERGER's lawyers and prosecutors have filed a number of motions discussing everything from KOHBERGER's car and cell phone records, a surviving roommate's description of a man with bushy eyebrows, KOHBERGER's Amazon records, his autism diagnosis, and whether the death penalty should be a possible punishment for him. KOHBERGER's lawyers say he maintains his innocence in the murders of Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle at a home near the University of Idaho campus in Moscow in November of 2022. Now, we learned some new things about the case at this hearing. We usually do, and I'm going to go through those. But first, let's listen to some of the arguments. KOHBERGER's lawyers have asked Judge Hippler to bar prosecutors from labeling him a psychopath or a sociopath. Here's Ann Taylor.
If that's allowed to happen, then Mr. KOHBERGER is colored with an opinion or a way the jury will view him that is unfair. And our request is that the court not allow the state to label him in testimony as a psychopath or a sociopath, because any kind of testing is unreliable. That would relate to, or that would become problematic within the rules of evidence to do so, and the inflammatory nature of those kinds of labels would.
I'm not aware of any testing that has been done that has reached that conclusion. Am I missing something?
You are not missing anything. There has not been any testing. There has not been any labeling.
Now, a lot of people were confused by this request. Why is she asking for this? Ann Taylor said it was simply preventative, but prosecutors said they weren't going to use those words anyway. Here's Judge Hippler.
With respect to the use of terms psychopath or sociopath, I do understand.
So here's my argument with this right here. You don't know that he's a sociopath. You don't know that he's a psychopath. You're prejudging that situation, in my opinion, okay? There is no answer to that as far as a medical evaluation or a psychological evaluation, so
They would have to have psychiatrists.
you said, well, they shouldn't be saying something like that because that is leading the jury. Making that statement is going to make the jury visualize him as that type of a person. That's wrong. So,
Yeah, I don't think they'll be allowed to do it.
No, that he I think he already ruled on that. Who's echoing SRB? Somebody's echoing. Donnie, you have an echo, bud. Make sure they're turned down in the background, okay? That's all. Let's see. So that's my feeling on that, but yeah.
Yeah, that there is no evidence that the defendant specifically has been tested and found to be with that diagnosis or personality disorder, if you will. And I understand the state is not intending to, at this point, seek to attach that label. Absent evidence, competent forensic evidence, if you will, qualified expert evidence. And I haven't worked all the way through penalty phase, and I suppose that could come up in penalty phase of things. But for now, certainly for the guilt phase, innocence phase of the trial, I am ordering that the state and its.
What's up, Mama Bear?
I was just repeating what he was saying.
Oh.
Everybody's got a little bit of an echo.
Welcome back, JC.
Do I have an echo?
Nope, you're good.
It sounds like it on my mute.
Does anybody have?
I hear an echo,
Does
but I
anybody
hear an
have?
echo on me too.
Okay. Does anybody have YouTube turned on in the background at all?
No.
I don't think so.
If you do, turn it off or turn it way down low.
I don't even have the tab open.
Okay. We should be good then.
Am I echoing to you guys?
Do I have an echo?
You don't.
No, just the other panelists.
Okay. All three have an echo, Tippy said. Do you hear anything, Bear?
I hear an echo on. Well, yeah.
Okay, somebody's probably going through somebody else's. Okay, this is what I need you guys to do. Go into your settings at the bottom, since you're all in here with StreamYard. Go into your settings and go into the left of the screen. There's an audio tab. You click on that. And you'll click, there's a little box that says echo cancellation. If it's clicked already, unclick it. If it's not clicked, then click it.
Is that better?
You sound good to me. You always did. So it's up to everybody else.
I can't hear my echo now.
You sound good. I sound good.
Yep, you're good.
Oh, where'd Donna go?
He jumped off.
Oh.
JC's good now, they said. How's everybody else sound? Mama Bear, Donnie's not
Hello.
here. Good. Yep, good. Okay, we're all good. Good. Until Donnie comes
Yay.
back, we'll make sure Donnie's right too. All right, guys, that's all we got to do. If you're ever on a panel and you have echo issues and it's StreamYard, go to the settings, go in the back to audio, click echo cancellation, make sure it's either checked or unchecked. It depends on how it is. And do the opposite of it and you'll be good. All right, back to business. It's strange, I know. And here he comes. Hold on, let's fix it back up. There we go. All right.
How's that now?
How does he sound, everybody?
Hello?
You're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Let's do it.
It's witnesses.
Oops, she said echo. SRB said echo. Candy said better. Count to 10 real quick, Donnie.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, you're good. We got it.
Yeah, because I turned on adjust the audio volume and I turned the echo. Must have got turned off again somehow. It was on.
It happens all the time. It's your StreamYard does its own thing when it feels like it. So we're good. No worries.
Not use those two terms where they're equivalents.
I want to take just a moment to tell you about Upside, the sponsor of today's
Cumulative evidence, or perhaps some that are unnecessarily graphic. We can address that on a case-by-case basis.
Now, here's something new that we learned about the details of a traffic stop involving Brian KOHBERGER on August 21st, 2022. This happened about 2 miles from the King Road house the night before classes started at the University of Idaho. Prosecutors want the jury to see that traffic stop to show KOHBERGER in his car, but the defense disagrees.
In this video, things that make it more prejudicial than probative are that it provides presence in Moscow. It is at night. It is a visual of the car that is not just the make and model. It is Mr. KOHBERGER's statement that he doesn't think seatbelts provide much in the way of safety. Mr. KOHBERGER's question about why they need his phone number. Mr. KOHBERGER's question about how the officer reacts when people lie to him about wearing a seatbelt. If the court allows this evidence in, the state has the ability to use this to make many other points beyond identity. And the jury would have the ability to potentially seek to ask to rewatch the video and draw other conclusions that we are worried about, such as as I mentioned, him being at night, not wanting to, it being at night, him not wanting to give his phone number, which could be construed as he wants to hide his identity.
Now, we knew about this traffic stop and requested the video. It's the only one involving KOHBERGER that's never been released. Prosecutors simply won't give it up to the public.
Guys, real quick, make sure to pop over on that link right there in the chat and say hello to Mama Bear. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything she puts out, please and thank you. I would have it pinned in the chat, but I have to have our link pinned, so I'm going to drop it in here every so often to make sure everybody's jumping over and hitting her like button as well, because we're all here together. It's just as important, if not more, so please and thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Bill Thompson argued the jury should see this video.
Just because the defendant doesn't like the fact that we can prove who he is, that we can prove what car he's driving, that we can prove what his phone number is, that we can prove his address. I mean, those are all things that tie together to connect the defendant to the homicides. Just because they don't like that isn't a basis to object to it.
No, but the fact that not all of that needs to be put out there because it has nothing to do with the crime is what the issue was. There's no reason for all of that to be out there. You can show a still photograph. That's all you need. If you need that to identify him, put a picture that's still, that's not moving. You don't need to see the whole video, the whole interaction.
Just a photo of the video
in the car. That's all you need. There's so many other ways to do that. Show his registration. Anything. That's all you got to do, guys. They want to use that so they can try to show the way he acts in that video and the fact that of what went on.
They want to show it as he's intended combative.
Exactly, and that's not who he was. So whatever. Just saying, that's my opinion on that as well. The state will use it for identifying purposes, and they don't want to admit they messed up. Amen, Devilwoman. Thank you for that, and thank you for being here today.
Now, Judge Hippler said certain aspects of the video are concerning, like KOHBERGER asking police why they need his phone number. So
why is that concerning? I've never had a police officer ask me for my phone number when they pull me over. Is that normal? Am I missing something?
It depends on the state. I think it depends on the location.
Never seen that before. So, okay, I'll take it that it's from another state and that's why they do it. But what do you need the phone number for? Unless you're getting...
Unless they try to do it with something, yeah.
You know, that would be the only reason, but that's not what happened there. That's kind of strange to me. Never been asked that in my life. Alicia's never been asked that either. I'm in Ohio. She's in Michigan. I mean,
Ohio don't ask for phone number. They ask for your name and like birthday or social.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm wondering if they wanted it so they could like follow up with him, like if he was asking questions and they wanted to like follow up with him or something about anything.
I mean, maybe, but still, that's still weird to me. It doesn't fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eddie says they want to show his being in Moscow at night, driving a white Elantra, questioning why to give his phone number. Maybe what he's wearing. The state is trying to be clever. 100%. Thank you, Eddie. That's my take on it too.
Or because he was out of state, because technically at that traffic stop, was he still a Pennsylvania or was he legally Washington resident?
He was still from PA in August. He still had PA plates on there. Didn't expire until November.
Yeah, they
right.
might do the phone number, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he didn't change his plates until December, did he?
Yeah.
End of November or December?
November, right. Debbie Ann in the house. Minimalistic hippie, hello. Good to see you.
That's the only thing I can think of about why they would do that. That makes the only thing logical sense there.
Right. There's nothing in that video. Why you want to hide it so bad? Said the other foot lapola. What? So if there's nothing in that video, why would you want to hide it so bad? Because it makes the prosecution can use it to make him look bad.
Yeah, I think that's bad intent.
100%. That's why they don't want it in there. You know, there's enough propaganda out there about this guy to make him look bad. They don't need to add anything extra to it. Okay. He hasn't been given a chance at a fair trial at this thus far, and I mean that by meaning what the mainstream media has put out and social media has put out against him. There's enough to fight against. That's just one more thing. That's why they're asking for it to be pulled. Good to see you, Debbie Ann. And Minimalistic Hippie. I love your name, by the way. Let's see. Terry Martin's in the house. Good evening, Terry. Good to have you here.
Don't you seem when he's sitting at the defense table? Don't it seem like he's lost some weight?
Oh yeah, he looks thinner since he was
Yeah, he
moved.
looks thinner to me. Yeah,
And the guy, he's a vegan. Maybe the the menu has changed. Who knows? It could be that. It could be that we're getting closer to the trial. He's not eating as much. He's nervous. Who knows?
that's stressful.
But he doesn't look too bad. AR said last night. AR was live. Said he doesn't look unhealthy. He just looks thinner. The fact that he didn't have his coat on will make him look thinner as well. He usually wears his suit jacket. He didn't have it on, so that takes some bulk off too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's that.
I also feel on the flip side, I kind of feel like the defense is trying to get everything thrown out.
In some ways, well, there's a lot of stuff they're trying to get thrown out because it's going to go against him in the end. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the defense's job. They gotta go through everything. They want everything, but they got to do that because that's just the process.
That's their job. And then a lot of the motions that were being brought in, I think a lot of people have said that they're wasting the court's time by the motions that she's presenting because some of it the state has already agreed to. Well, here's my theory on that, guys. The state is well known for not coming through on things that they're supposed to. And so be it. So I think that Ann has brought those motions forth to get them on record so that everybody sees it and hears it and it's on record so that if the state does try to back out of something, it's there. You can't. That's why I think she did it. And I think it's bringing forth a lot of the bullshit that has been bounced around in here too. That's my opinion. So I'm just saying, he showed, I'll tell you this much, Grace. He does seem to show quite a bit of confidence for his situation. Again, something else AR said, he came off as pretty confident. He was smiling, talking to Alyssa a lot, and he was talking to Becca a lot, conversing, smiling. So if you're not confident, I don't think you're going to be that way. He's got very broad shoulders. That's true too. Tandy AR said. So he said he seemed in good spirits. He seemed healthy from what he could see up close in person. So we'll see. I don't know. The confidence I think he's always carried with him, and I think that also does come with the ASD as well, because there is that everybody, he's a cold-hearted killer. He shows no remorse at all. If you know anything about the autism spectrum disorder stuff, that has
They
nothing
don't
to do
know
with
how to read other people's emotions.
Bingo. They don't know how to express theirs half the time either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nor do they have some emotions, guys.
Right.
Or they don't realize it.
And that's it. And Alyssa Massoff explained that so well during that hearing. I mean, I had to applaud her. It was amazing the way she explained it. And she even got into Hitler's head, in my opinion, to get on those subjects. So just saying, guys, just saying.
Do you think that he may not understand the full extent of what he's being accused of?
I think he does understand fully that. I don't
Yeah.
think what he doesn't understand, in my opinion, maybe is why. Why is this happening to him?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And how did they get to me? If I'm Brian Kohberger and I'm innocent, I'm asking, how did they get to me?
Well, that's what we're all asking. Amen. He should be asking. You're right, JC. You're right. Absolutely. And he should be. He should be asking that question. Okay. Just as much as Richard Allen should have asked that question, which he did. And yeah, he does have the right to have his family there, and I think he should in every aspect, and I hope that he does. I hope that they can get there. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Video is irrelevant to this case. They have other documentation to provide. They should, but they're trying to say they needed that video for that, so I think that's ridiculous, but that's okay.
One incident doesn't have to do anything with the other, though. That's my thing.
That's true.
The crime hadn't happened yet.
Yes, ma'am. And that is the video, I believe, that you can't even FOIA that one from August. I don't understand why still, but so be it.
Why are they so harped on that one? Why ain't they on the ones with the two that are on his way to Pennsylvania, the two that got
The
stopped?
Indiana stops.
Yeah, that's what
That's a
I
great
can't figure
question, you
out
guys.
too. If they're after that one, why are they so pressed on that one in Washington? Why
That's
not
a
the
great
ones that
question.
Indiana?
Yep. Great question, Dawn. Great question. And that's why I'm glad you guys do this, so we can ask these questions and put this out here. It's funny because the same people who think that autism argument is stupid judge him just the way the defense describes. That's true too, Candy. That's true.
Plus,
Very
those
sad.
Indiana ones are a better shot of the car and all that too. That would think they would be on those more than they
Yep.
would want that Washington one.
Well, they're closer and they're more intimate, in my opinion, and there's a lot more to them. I agree. There's two of them, so yeah. Absolutely, it makes good sense, Don.
Because I think they had him surveillance at that time.
Of course, those two. There's no way you're going to make me believe that those were not part of this. I absolutely, I would have believed that then, maybe for a minute, and even then I questioned it. But both those Indiana stops are part of the investigation, as far as I'm concerned. That just makes sense to me. So, and that's probably why too, because that video clearly identifies him with that phone number. So that's a good point, Z's.
Stay tuned for a ruling on that video. Kohberger's lawyers also argued their motion to keep the surviving roommate, DM, from using the words bushy eyebrows to describe a man she saw walking through the King Road house, which is how this selfie of Brian Kohberger came to light. He took it 6 hours after the homicides occurred. Prosecutors say it shows his eyebrows that morning. Kohberger's lawyers say DM's account is unreliable for many reasons.
She described herself as, quote, probably very drunk. And given the amount of alcohol she told law enforcement about consuming the entire day, that makes sense. She started with champagne mimosas in the morning, then White Claws 9 to 10 throughout the day. Then that night before she got home, she was involved in a drinking game and drank Borg, which is hard alcohol and flavoring. Her degree of attention, given this, supports unreliability. Factor 3, the accuracy of the description. Her description is that she saw a person wearing all black, not insanely tall. She doesn't know if she saw lips and nose. She is certain he is white. She never mentions eyebrows herself initially. The person who asked about eyebrows was law enforcement.
Now, Kohberger's lawyer said that DM told detectives that she saw Xana Kernodle at some point and thought she was simply passed out from drinking too much. Prosecutor Ashley Jennings responded that DM is a reliable witness.
The male DM saw that night was covered head to toe. The only thing that was uncovered was a portion of his face. That does not lend itself to positively identifying any particular person. Therefore, an identification procedure was not used, and that Manson-Biggers test is inapplicable. Instead, on 4 separate occasions before Brian Kohberger was even identified or arrested, DM gave consistent descriptions of the male she saw in the residence that night at around 4 a.m. Every time she described this person as being white, male, wearing all black, a few inches taller than her, she's 5'10", wearing a mask, skinny, athletic, toned build, and not a voice that she recognized. During 3 of those interviews, she then describes the male's eyebrows, and she describes them as being bushy. Obviously, there was some focus on the eyes or the eyebrows by investigators because this is the only portion that she could see. She never wavers in her description of the person that she saw. She's very clear about what she does remember and what she doesn't remember. Defense.
Is she high? What the hell? She never wavers in the description of the person she saw. What? She never wavers, you guys. How many times did she change this? Dylan changed what she saw, what, 3 different times?
I was going to say like 3 times.
This is one of this is one of the most unreliable witnesses I've ever seen. Ever. This is insane. Oh, Ashley. Good God. Okay.
Put the state of Mr. Kohberger's eyebrows into question. In an attempt to discredit DM's testimony or description, they wrote, Mr. Kohberger does not have bushy eyebrows.
Judge Hippler did not rule on that motion. He will do so later.
Because he doesn't, you guys. His eyebrows ain't no more bushy than mine are. Okay? No. They're really not. It's ridiculous. So be it. The fact that investigators were talking to DM about eyebrows tells us that they were on to him, their target back then. Very good point, Eddie. Take that into heart, folks. Think about what he just said. The fact that they brought up the eyebrow situation says that they were on to him at some point in November, okay? Around the 13th. Makes some kind of sense. That does really make some kind of sense, Eddie. Let's see. You know how does she know this person was a male? Very good point. I said that a long time ago too. What the hell? I wonder if Dylan could say that the "it's okay, I'm going to help you" voice she heard is a match to available. Oh, that would be interesting to hear as well. Let's see. Nah, not really, Eve. I don't believe he did. I don't think so. If I remember right, I don't think so. I'll tell you one. There's one of the kids from the Banfield sure as hell did. There's quite a few other people that were around that circle that did. So they never looked at them though. That's crazy. Let's see. Mark and Betty, good to see you. Cheers, my friend. Zena Ogden. I'm sorry. Love your name. Gitmo Holiday. Hello. Tori Turdia, because that video is showing him in Moscow. The state does not have Brian going into the house. They cannot identify him anywhere else around the house. Right. And that's what I'm saying. The fact that Steve made a statement supposedly that he's got this on video. They have this on video. Whoever told you that, you shouldn't have told you that, because I don't believe they have that. And if they do, I'll eat every word.
It's generated. It's probably AI generated.
Well, I don't know, but I don't believe that at all. We'd have seen that already, you guys. 2.5 years later, we'd have seen that.
Yeah, that'd be out in documents. That'd be out right now.
That is a pinpoint on the. That's a bomb. Okay, that would have put him there, and we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, in my opinion, if they had that. So, just saying, that is an absolute.
If they had that, we'd be already at trial.
More than likely, yeah. More than likely. All right.
Later. Now, just in the last month, the defense has revealed that Brian Kohberger has been diagnosed with autism, and they're revealing this for a number of reasons. But first, Kohberger's lawyers say they don't want his autism used against him as an aggravating factor in the penalty phase if the jury finds him guilty.
Your Honor, when I look through the mounds of discovery, there are probably 100 hours of interviews of people that Mr. Kohberger went to school with at WSU. And of course, those interviews come just hours and days after the headlines hit that Mr. Kohberger's been arrested in this case. And people that he went to school with, that he interacted with, had unkind things to say about him. And a lot of their unkind things, when you understand them in the context of autism, the way he may stand in a room near a doorway, the way he may look too long at a person, their interviews are different when you know he has autism and you know the characteristics he displays. But those awful comments, those mean comments about him, if the state uses those as aggravators, that's using his autism characteristics.
So this was a pretty interesting argument that Ann Taylor made. The prosecution said, though, that it won't be using Kohberger's autism diagnosis against.
Nobody said that at all, Hippie. So if she was high, it was her fault. Was it her fault? Nobody said that. Nobody said anything remotely close to that. Did I miss something? I don't think so. Who were victims? The victims that are deceased were absolute victims. The two other roommates were victims of the circumstance, victims of the crime, the circumstance of the crime, in my opinion, but not of the crime, because they survived. They didn't get attacked. So, that's my opinion on that for sure. So nobody said anything like that at all. So I don't know if it was misheard, misunderstood, but.
Against him. Here's Assistant Attorney General Jeff Nye.
The state has no plans whatsoever to use the autism during the penalty phase as any kind of aggravation whatsoever. There is no.
You can presume that he's not guilty, which is what we're supposed to do because that's what the Constitution says. That doesn't mean he won't be at the end of this trial and muddying the waters with victims being called into more question with no facts against him. Well, what the waters that have been muddied is all the bullshit propaganda that has been run from the moment that the guy was arrested, pointing to him being guilty until proven innocent from day one to right this moment right now. That's where the muddy. Yeah, that's where the waters have gotten muddied at, folks. Muddying the waters about asking questions about what the other two roommates have done. That's not. No. How is that muddying the waters? It's asking questions about things that we don't understand. Like why 911 was never called. Why it took 8 hours for that. All of that stuff. That makes no sense at all. That's where the problem is. That is what has muddied the waters. Okay, so that's not victimizing anybody. That's asking questions that should have very well been asked from day one. Why were these people that were in that house when this happened on social media for 8 hours not calling 911? Why were these people all sent off together to lollipop guild themselves into a hotel instead of being separated, questioned, and kept apart? Why did that all happen? That's what muddies the waters. Those are the things that cause problems and did cause problems throughout this whole case. So that's where in my opinion, of course, and you're welcome to your opinions on that, hippie, but that's what I didn't understand with what you said. So
plan to put on students from the university to talk about.
It is very strange that they, instead of separating each of the two roommates, they sent them off with their friends and they all stayed in hotels together that night. What is that? And then shortly thereafter that, all these kids left and went home for Thanksgiving, I think it was. Right or wrong, Mama Bear?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So how did you question however many people were involved around this and look into them cleanly and clearly and clear them in that period of time? It was a couple days, you guys, literally. So that's the problem I have with that situation.
Their personal views of this individual. To be quite frank, if we get to a penalty phase, we have a lot better aggravating evidence than the fact that he has level 1 autism. And frankly, it's just not a persuasive argument to ask a jury to impose the penalty of death because someone has autism.
So this next motion is really important because it has to do with Brian Kohberger's family being in the courtroom during the trial. Prosecutors have said they may call members of Kohberger's family to testify, so they can't be in the courtroom until after they do so. That made it sound like they may be cooperating with prosecutors, but Kohberger's lawyers say not so fast.
The state submits that by simply placing our client's family on its witness list, that is enough to warrant exclusion, and further that they may call family members. I want to note that they have not subpoenaed them, the state's attorneys have not interviewed them, and they know that Mr. Kohberger's family does not have any interest in helping them. They also know from watching all of Mr. Kohberger's video visits how much his family loves him and supports him, and that he is absolutely dependent on them, having been in isolation for almost 2.5 years. And by the time we get to trial, it will be almost 3 years. His parents attend every court hearing, and the only reason that they are not here in person is that they do not have the money to fly back and forth from the East Coast. If they had the financial resources, they would be here in person every single court date. Sequestration of witnesses under IRE 615 is discretionary. The language in the statute is that they may be excluded by the court.
Were they? That's a good question, Jeff. We were told that there was an interview done. One, maybe. They should have been completely. They had 4, 5 interviews. Dylan had, I think. I may be wrong.
Yeah, you never put witnesses and all that in the same room. That doesn't make sense.
There was an interview, a short interview, I believe. From what I understood, it didn't last very long because they were upset. And I'll give it that. That's fine. But you don't allow these people to corral together. I'm just sorry. That's just unprofessional to me. So just saying. Good to see you, Richard. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Yeah, usually you separate everybody.
What'd you say, bud?
You usually separate them all in different locations.
100%. Yeah. That didn't even happen in the beginning. Okay. When the police got there, everything happened, goes down. And we've talked about this already. They were off mingling with their friends and doing this and doing that. Those two, if they were guys, if it was you and I, Don, we'd have been sat in a police car, separated from everybody, and for the whole damn
they would have
time.
separated us. Yeah. Females
Absolutely.
get some kind of privilege, it seems like.
And I get
How
it.
many people were there when the police showed up?
They
We
said
don't even
near
know.
30, if I recall.
Well, it
30?
probably, by the time, I don't think it was that many. I think after the vandal alert went out, maybe others showed up. But yeah, there was a few people, at least a good handful.
It was over 8. I know it was minimum 8.
Yeah, there was a good amount of people there that should not have been there. Nobody should have been
Because
there.
it would have been at least Hunter and Emily, right?
Hunter and Emily for sure. There was another male voice that I heard.
Weren't their neighbors?
I think the neighbors came over from the other side as well. And then some of the frat boys started popping up. So at one point, of course, the twins were there for Ethan. Some of their friends were there with them. I heard that
you got to think at least 12 to 15.
Decor showed up as well. So there's a lot of people. Okay, absolutely. And
we don't know, did they go in the house or were they all outside?
That's what we don't know.
Big question. That's a big question too.
I would like to think that that law enforcement did the job and locked it down and did not allow anybody in there, but we don't know.
Contained it, wrapped it off with tape.
What? So are we going baby Ted Bundy wannabe autistic? Wow.
What? Wow. Yeah, wow.
That don't make no sense.
Bye. Have a good day there, hippie.
Yeah. Hi, Richard.
Court discretion in that decision, and there's a reason for that.
So that was some really interesting information that we learned from Kohberger's lawyer. His family is standing behind him. Here's what Ashley Jennings said in response.
And
Now I'm going to tell you guys right now, okay, and I'm not playing when I say this. I'm going to say this one more time. I'm not going to put up with any kind of ignorant autistic statements, okay, in relation to that whatsoever. Because I don't care how many people are in here or not in here. I don't need people in here like that. I won't have people in here like that. You can have your own beliefs, but you're not going to voice something like that in this channel, okay? It's just not going to happen. It's a real thing. It's not a joke. And it's nothing to joke around or make some kind of ignorant comment about. I've stated that the other day, and I'm not going to do it again. Because I'm not going to be anywhere near as nice the next time I see it. If you don't want to be in here, then don't be. Everybody's opinions are welcome. That wasn't an opinion. That was ignorance as far as I'm concerned, okay? There's a difference. So don't make ignorant comments. Nobody else is doing it. You don't need to do it. Anybody, period. Especially in relation to anything that's in relation to autism. It's not a joke. It's not something to play with, to try to bounce things around, to ping people with, to get them upset or irritated. We just don't do it. That's all I'm saying.
It was a troll.
I don't care at this point. I'm not going to have that conversation again. So, and the moderators will not even say a word. You're just going to be zinged, and that's the end of it. Bye. So thank you, and much respect to everybody else for being good people and not doing that. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. So thank you, guys.
Way is the state intending to use its subpoena power in order to exclude Mr. Kohberger's family from the courtroom. The state's not aware of any authority to support this argument that the defendant has a Sixth Amendment right to have his family in the courtroom. He, of course, under the Sixth Amendment has the right to a public trial, but that's not his choosing of who is in that courtroom. Totally understand it's within your discretion to allow certain immediate family members.
What's up, Outcast? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us today, and I appreciate your work that you've been doing with the audio. Keep up the stuff, bud. I appreciate it very much.
In the courtroom to support Mr.
The reason you
Kohberger.
can't simply take up whatever family members you may need to testify in your case in chief right at the beginning. Other than, obviously I know you have a narrative on how you want to lay these things out, but what I will tell you is both sides ought to get used to the idea that with a 3-month trial, the trial schedule will not be held hostage to your narrative. In other words, we'll be taking things out of order, stopping witnesses to put another one on to make sure we get them through them and picking them up again. And so is there a reason you couldn't call whatever family members you need right away?
Well,
Yeah,
I
he's
will
telling
say,
them that
we
they
have
better
no
do that
intention of
early.
calling all the family members. We have the intention of calling a few of the family members who serve certain purposes. I can't think of a reason that we couldn't. Obviously, it's not ideal. It's completely out of context. It's out of order.
This is like a gumbo.
Oh, well, there's things that have to be done, and sometimes you got to change things for different reasons. You don't like it, that's okay. And this is another one that I do believe that he's going to rule. I think he pretty much did to rule for the defense as far as that goes. You don't have to like it, but I think they
He's
agreed
going
on
to
it.
allow the family in the courtroom.
Right. And they don't need, and there's nothing wrong if they're going to testify with having them do it like right away, get it out of the way and let them be there. They deserve that. He deserves that. Everybody does. Everybody does deserve that, regardless of whether they're guilty or not, to have their family there to support them, period. So
You are going to put all the pieces that go into that into the pot. And at the end of the day, the jury's going to decide whether it's a good soup or not from the state's perspective. And so I think we get too obsessively stuck on the idea of exactly the order these things need to come in, right? And so I'm not sure why you couldn't call the family members you need up front, and then we take away this concern. I can certainly understand from the defense perspective the need and desire to have the defendants support family here in the courtroom.
I absolutely understand that, Darkface. So is my youngest child, 18 years old. He's the same thing, and a lot of people in here know him, which is why I have such a sensitivity towards anything mentioned about autism and it being abused. So yes, I agree with you and understand completely.
I do too. And I guess my preference would be for that, even though it would be out of context and interfere with the state's preference of how to present its case. And I think I do take issue with the defendant being able to direct how the state presents its case to a jury.
So Judge Hippler basically told the prosecutors to adjust and call whichever Kohberger family members they need to call early in the trial so they can be in the courtroom to support him. Now, we've heard a lot about Bryan Kohberger's Amazon account, and prosecutors have said he bought a K-bar knife and sheath on Amazon in March of 2022, 8 months before the murders. As lawyers say, testimony about click activity on that account is unreliable and shouldn't be allowed at trial.
You also just proffered that, that based on the information that you understand, that equates to a purchase. And I've put a declaration in front of you from an expert that says that Amazon doesn't work exactly that way. And that's the problem, that when it is represented as a click, that indicates to the average person that he sat at a desk and clicked and made a purchase when there's a lot more to them.
And maybe I'm completely out to lunch, but as I understand it, to buy something on Amazon, you got to put it in your shopping cart and hit purchase. Am I wrong about that?
That is a step, but how it gets in your cart and what items get in your cart really has to do with the whole model and the ecosystem of the way that Amazon works, right? And so the state wants to apply in an argument. They will apply intent to purchase a K-bar to get to November 13th, 2022.
From the evidence to argue at closing arguments.
But we still have to have testimony that explains those things in between.
Now, Ashley Jennings says this shouldn't even be up for discussion.
Judge, this is pretty simple. Shane Cox and Mike Douglas, since he gets brought up, they're fact witnesses. They're not going to have opinions. They review records. They're going to testify to what those records show. Shane Cox's testimony is laid out in the supplemental amended disclosure. This is exactly what he's going to testify to. And what he's going to say, he's very careful in what he says that he's going to say. That's what we're anticipating. There is no grounds to exclude his testimony. We applied for and we were granted a search warrant for Brian KOHBERGER's Amazon.com user activity. The search warrant was narrow in scope to items related to the homicide and evidence related to the seizing of knives. In this case, it was knives and knife accessories. It directed law enforcement to see certain items: his customer click activity pertaining to knives and accessories, his payment methods used, details of items in cart, including all items added to the cart or removed from the cart or wish listed, or in a shopping basket, all suggestions made to the account, all records regarding reviews by other Amazon users, advertising data, devices used to connect to the account, and all accounts linked to the account. The state requested the data between limited time periods, March 20th to March 30th, and November 1st to December 6th. Those were the relevant time periods. And in response, we got responsive data, and that's what we plan on presenting to the jury. Amazon's use of AI is not a basis to exclude, and it's completely irrelevant. AI doesn't click on things for a user. There are no legal grounds to exclude this.
But listen to this. We learned something new about how the state claims Brian KOHBERGER bought this K-bar knife, and it came from Judge Hippler.
Special Agent Douglas's testimony, that seems to have shifted a bit from he's going to talk about bank records and debit purchases, and it's become bigger without any opinion. I don't know what his opinion about anything will be. That needs to be limited. I think he can come in and talk
through the financial records and say, this shows a transaction with Mr. KOHBERGER's credit card to purchase a Amazon gift card, and that this Amazon gift card was used to purchase a knife.
If he can say all of those things, I think that his ability to talk about receiving the bank record and looking at it and saw a purchase history, I think that's fine. But to provide an opinion about what that means, that's not disclosed. Well, Your Honor, I don't want to wait to find out. I'm asking the court to.
My point is this: I'm not in a position to exclude their testimony because they haven't shown me that they're offering something beyond what they've disclosed.
So the state is going to prove that Brian KOHBERGER bought an Amazon gift card and then used it to buy the knife. That's their claim. Now, remember when I told you that Brian KOHBERGER claimed his alibi was that he was out driving the night of the murders and that he did that often to go to.
Well, what if he bought the Amazon gift card and gave it to his dad, and his dad bought the knife since it's a family account?
I want to see the mailing label of the.
I want to see everything. I want to see the way it was paid for, the gift card. I want to see the address. I want to see every bit of that, the receipt, all of it. I want to see it because why would somebody do that? First off, that makes no sense. Again, and this is a family account. Remember that. That's been proven. And if there is any testimony from the family, it'll probably be to that. So there was a gift card purchased, an Amazon gift card, and then the knife was purchased from that gift card per se, is what the state is trying to say. That sounds like a gift to me, you guys. What do you think? Just saying. Quite interesting, isn't it? They did say that's their sorry, Candy. They did say that there's witnesses that he did purchase the knife. Sure. Okay. Let's just see the receipts and how everything went down. That's all I want to see. And they should have to prove all that. Absolutely. Let's see. See? I know, Kim, but there's a lot of things that will make your head spin in this case, guys, constantly.
We all have had that from now on and since this
Well,
year, the past years.
Right. If we remember the purchase date that they expressed for this when they found this on Amazon, the purchase date. If you remember that, guys, think about it. The time of year it was, things like that. Just saying. All right. Where's the proof the K-bar was used in these homicides? There isn't. The only thing they have as far as a weapon is concerned is a sheath. There was no knife with it. We don't even know that there was a K-bar in that sheath, if there was anything in it at all. I've seen people mismatch knives with different sheaths all the time. Go ahead, get
Yeah, it
JC.
could
Sorry.
be a totally
Well,
different
and I've
knife.
also heard that there's now a question that the weapon was not a K-bar.
Yes, ma'am. There's also
So,
the possibility of two perpetrators with two different weapons that was brought up now too. There's
oh
that
my
too.
lord.
There's guys. I still don't
If
believe.
you go after one, you kind of have to at least try and go after the other, right?
I mean, you should think so. I would definitely think so. Yes. Thank you, Bonnie, so much for that membership, dear. I can't see right off the get who got that. Whoever it is, congratulations. Welcome to the sauce. And Bonnie, God bless. We love you. Thank you so much. It was very generous of you, dear.
Do you think the three kids that were in the field that night, do you think they were decoys?
The four kids, you mean? The
They
Banfield
got in
kids?
trouble for drinking or whatever the cops stopped. Do you think they were? I think
They could have been.
they could have
Anything's
been
possible.
decoys.
Anything's possible, Don. With what has gone down on this so far, the way we've seen everything presented and retracted and presented and retracted and all this stuff, anything is possible, and I don't doubt anything at this point.
Yep.
Welcome, Moonlit. Good to see you. I'm sorry, Moonlit.
I bet they are
Raquel,
kicking themselves now for not looking for somebody else.
they should be. They should be.
They should have been a long
'Cause
time ago,
if
too,
he walks or gets
in
found
my opinion.
guilty, there's no justice for nobody.
And that's the whole point right there. That's the whole point.
So sad.
Did CLK get the membership SRB? Wait, what? Did you do that? Did you do that, Mama Bear?
I made COK a mod
on
my
her
side.
side. Yes, on her side, guys. Okay. I was like, what the heck happened? No, that's cool. Awesome. Welcome to the family, CLK. That's awesome. Congrats. Very awesome. Right, like the stockings. Exactly, Wade. Exactly. Didn't the original coroner say the wounds were different? Yep, and Mr. Steve Gonzalez himself said that the wounds were all different.
Kaylee's wounds were different than Maddie's.
They were large, gouge.
And different wounds means different weapons usually.
It could be. It could mean,
And the
yes.
coroner described them as more like tears.
Yep. So
Not
it
to
could
be.
be, they could all be made from the same weapon. That is very plausible and possible, folks. Yes. But it's also very, very plausible that they were different weapons.
And movements of how you're moving too can do that too.
Especially if you're defending yourself. Yes.
Right,
100%.
fighting back or
It could cause
out of normal.
Yeah.
Normal
And we don't
movement.
even have one weapon, so that's a problem.
That's agreed. Mikey's in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Agreed. I do agree. Yeah, that's true too, Wade. That is very true. I remember that conversation. So,
Oh, Dave.
right. On we go.
Go to a park and look at the stars? Well, the state says that doesn't qualify as an alibi. But Ann Taylor says it does partially.
Mr. Kohberger has consistently maintained his innocence and said that he was out driving in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022.
And he can testify to that.
I'm going to get to that. We provided Mr. Ray
So rude, so disrespectful.
as a partial corroboration of Mr. Kohberger's alibi in an abundance of caution. The thing I didn't want was to be here with Mr. Thompson saying they should have told us they had.
That's an interesting statement, Gladys. Welcome, first off. Has the Kohberger family, been asked by law enforcement if they can produce a K-bar knife? Maybe somebody in the family has one in their possession.
Or he had one in that Pennsylvania house to throw them off.
Not even that, because it's a family account. There was a knife purchased. We'll say that's fine. How do we know that one of them didn't buy it? Okay.
Yeah, they're going to have to show it. They're going to have to prove it.
That's a good statement, though, Gladys. I appreciate that. And yes, I agree. They should have to at least be asked that question, I should say.
Had a partial corroboration, now they can't use it. So that's why we disclosed Mr. Ray as early as we possibly could. Mr. Ray took the stand in a motion hearing last May, I believe, and the state chose not to cross-examine him. I disagree that Mr. Judge gave us repeated opportunities to produce more. There was a mix-up about what an order meant when speedy trial was waived and the trial was reset and all of the deadlines were extended.
The problem is Idaho requires someone to have a witness who can vouch for an alibi, and Kohberger hasn't provided that.
Well, we knew the defendant was out driving around. We have other evidence that show the defendant was out driving around. His phone was turned off, so we can't trace his exact location at the time of the offenses, but it overlaps and coincides with the time of the murders. The can's been kicked down the road several times on this, and it's nobody's fault.
I stopped. What's up? She cracks me up how she does that. Stop. Oh, again. Every time he says that, she says stop. How does he know his phone was turned off? And if they didn't have the AT&T timing data?
Yeah, timing advance
data. How did you know the
phone
phone was
how
turned
would they
off?
know that?
Tomboy hits that every time he says it. Every time. Thank you. I love it, love it, love it.
Judge afforded the defendant multiple opportunities to provide a compliant alibi response. That never occurred. The defendant's response from earlier this year doesn't have anything new or different. Talks about partial corroboration of a partial alibi, which frankly, the statute doesn't talk about partial anything, nor can we find that in the case law.
If they can 100% prove that, Patricia, that says that they had that data, in my opinion.
Yeah, that means those records would be there for time advance.
That's all I'm saying. That's my opinion, that if they have it, if they have the ability to prove that in a 100% aspect, that would tell me that they had to have that data.
Yeah, because that would prove it within the 7 days.
Or some sort of record, right?
Right.
And we proved yesterday that 7 days is bullshit. It was 7 years. And that was as of 2019. Okay.
But didn't time advance records though didn't start till really in June of 2023 is what I was told one time, or I heard something like that.
Well,
at the time of the crime in 2022, there wasn't time advance.
The point with that whole thing is that they didn't even use the GLDC on that, you guys. That doesn't matter. They can say that all they want, and that's what Voldemort here is forgetting when he brings this up. That doesn't matter. The 7 days doesn't matter because they didn't use the GLDC. They went around and used somebody else completely different.
Right.
And he has proof of that. Okay. And when Voldemort was saying that he needs to prove this or that or shut up, basically, he has it. The name is in that document of the man that was used to get that data. And then she stands here and says we don't have it. So when they bring this guy in to testify on that, the fact that the prosecution got that data through him, what are they going to do then? How are you going to get out of that?
Contradict what they're going to contradict themselves. They're just going to be. It won't make sense.
That's what I'm saying. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It's right there in black and white.
Kim, don't cry.
I will, Ro. I definitely will. What's the matter with Kim? What's wrong?
I think it's happy tears that I made her a mod.
Oh, well, why wouldn't we, Kim? You're part of the community, and we love you, so it is what it is.
She said, I'm going to cry. Sorry, I'm floored.
Well, that's exactly what Tandy did, and Stormy did, and Alicia did, and it happens.
Yeah, a lot of people cry when they get that.
We appreciate you guys, and that's how we try to make sure we show it in every way we can. So, especially if you're a deep part of this community, it is what it is.
I got me a cute little blue crew now. Thank you,
got
Tandy.
you a little brew crew. Yes. Don't tell on me. I won't tell on you. I'm sorry. Alicia didn't. Alicia does. She doesn't. She's a hard ass. No.
But I still say this is not going 3 or 4 month trial. This is going 6 months.
I don't know that they would let it go that long. I can't see that, but it's probably going to go over the period of time that they have set for it.
Yeah, it's going over 3 for sure.
Right. Bemmy says that they're trying to say he bought the gift card to cover up that he thought he was the one that was trying to hide the fact that he bought it. Yeah, it is ridiculous.
But there'll be dates and timestamps on that, all that stuff, and you got to put the dates and the timestamp when you buy something. That it usually has a time and a date and all that.
Agreed. Yes, that's very true. Very true. Very good point, Don.
Acknowledges that.
But then they have to prove that it was. But then they said they have to prove that it was delivered to him, that it wasn't
with a label with his
stolen
name on it.
with
and
his
it's
name
got
on
an
it. He was in possession of it, and it wasn't stolen.
Most
That's
have
right.
an SKU number on them.
SKU number, yeah.
A SKU,
They all do.
yeah.
They all do. 100%. Oh, let me see something here. Oh, that's quite interesting. Via our awesome and amazing Miss Potts. Hang on here. Oh, shit. What did I just do? Hold on, you guys. Sorry. There it is.
Some more good info. Seems like it's coming.
Always. Everything that Miss Potts puts up is amazing as far as I'm concerned. So text interactions between May 7th and October 31st of 22, as well as January 2nd of 23. The company said the stolen data includes records of calls and texts for mobile providers that resell AT&T service, but that it does not include the content of calls or texts, social security numbers, dates of birth, or any other personally identifiable information. However, the company said that a subset of stolen records included information about the location of cellular communication towers closest to the subscriber. Data
remember that big breach or hack that AT&T had?
They've had many, but yeah.
Yeah, that was around that time frame. I think they got hacked or got a big breach.
Closest to the subscriber data that could be used to determine the approximate location of the customer device initiating or receiving those text messages or phone calls. That's cool. That's pretty interesting. Thank you for dropping that, Tomboy. We'll come back to that in a little bit, guys. Okay. That's real interesting. Richard, it is Miss JC Ann, Donald D, and Mama Bear and myself, Richard. That's who it is. And no need to apologize, sir.
Their cell phone expert, Mr. Ray, can't account for the time of the homicides itself. Of course, we know that because his phone was turned off. So the only person who can testify to an alibi, if there is an alibi, is the defendant himself. If he elects to testify, that's fine.
So the only person that Brian Kohberger has testifying about his partial alibi at this point is his cell phone expert, Cy Ray.
Your Honor, the notion of partial corroboration of the alibi is concerning because that kind of begs the question between complying with the alibi disclosure statute or not. And
well, why shouldn't we just look at this in terms of the defendant's version is that Mr. Ray, in his expert work, is going to testify the defendant was at a certain place at a certain time, which is up to 2:50, whatever it was. As of this point, they have provided no other alibi witness.
Yes, sir.
Or the alibi instruction likely is not going to be given.
Yes, sir.
If they come across evidence that supports an alibi, is their obligation to immediately make you and the court aware of it? And then we'll deal with the issue of whether it is the timeliness of it and what the...
Thank you, Bemi, for gifting another membership to the cafe. Augusta, congratulations. Welcome to the sauce. That's awesome. Oh, so many new meatballs. I appreciate it very much. Bemi, God bless, and so very generous. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
How we deal with it.
Thank you, Your Honor. The court articulated
a deadline on the alibi?
We were looking for. Thank you.
So you heard it. As of...
What was that, Don?
I thought there was a deadline. They keep bringing up, I thought there was a deadline on that alibi.
There was at one point. Yeah, I agree.
Now, Brian Kohberger does not have an alibi, but that could always change. Now, let's get back to Kohberger's cell phone expert, Cy Ray. He has accused prosecutors of withholding timing advance records for Kohberger's cell phone, but prosecutors say they've done no such thing, and Judge Hippler was not happy.
I'm not upset, but I just for Mr. Ray's information, because he wasn't here the first day I started this trial with you folks. I said, I don't want theatrics. I don't want accusations that aren't supported with evidence about supposed bad conduct of the parties. You're all professionals. I respect you all. And the accusations he made in there are very concerning. The kinds of accusations, if true, that would get people disbarred. And so without any evidence and apparently sidestepping the clear explanation, he makes those. And so that doesn't make me happy.
Now, there have been a lot of questions about whether Brian Kohberger knew or ever encountered the four victims. His attorneys have said there was no social media connection. Well, Judge Hippler has gone beyond that. Take a listen.
We've watched a lot of the video that's contained on that server. Also on that server are vast amounts of bank records, vast amounts of cell phone for all of the people that Ms. Jennings mentioned, the deceased and people close to them and other people.
They've indicated that they've...
Thank you so much, Captain James. Much appreciated, brother. Always appreciated. Thank you for the super chat. Like I said, very generous and so very much appreciated. Again, anybody, excuse me, it's never expected from anyone here, guys, that does choose to support our channel via donations, via either super chats, buying memberships, donating to the PayPal, Venmo, or the Cash App. It's never, ever expected or at all, guys. But we definitely do appreciate it because it keeps the channel going day after day. So thank you to all of you for those donations and that support. It's amazing, generous, and we really appreciate and love all of you guys for it. So thank you so much. Great stuff, Cap.
Their experts have examined that and found no connection between Mr. Kohberger and the decedents.
I'm grateful to have recently learned that. I mean, that's what we believed, but that was in that March disclosure when they said that they'd examined those, and those were computers, the 7 computers, I believe. It's that kind of thing that takes a lot of time.
So Hippler is saying no connection has been found between the victims and Kohberger when examining computers. This raises the question, if there's no connection, what could possibly be the motive in this case? There is a lot more to discuss, and we will on the next episode of Crime Fix, so stay tuned. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next.
That's a question we may never know.
Say again?
That last statement she made, that why the motive or why did the crime even happen? What was the reason or the motive? That's something we may never know.
Right. That is a good point. A very good point. All right. Hold on here, guys. I got a couple other things people brought to my attention as well to review along with what we're reviewing. Where is it though? Hold on a minute. Oh yeah, hold on. Let me see here.
Dago.
I'm here. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I think I'm gonna drop down,
Oh,
but I'll
okay.
still listen and chat.
Something wrong?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I just don't want to fall asleep.
I got you.
All right. See ya.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Every time. Every
See you
time.
later.
I'm trying to find this one email I got yesterday referring to. Where the heck is it, you guys? Hold on a minute.
What are you doing? I step away for 1 minute.
No, I'm just trying to find something that one of the community members sent to me and asked about it, and I
Dago
can't.
gets a lot of stuff sent to him.
Yeah.
A whole lot. Just a second. Maybe it's not. Maybe I already went over it. Okay. Oh, that was Lori Daybell. Okay. And oh, yeah. Hold on a second here.
All right, Richard. We'll see you in a bit.
You taking off, buddy?
He said he's going to start working in the other room. He's still listening.
Okay.
But he'll
Thank you
come
for
back
being
in.
here. Thank you for being here, brother.
Yeah, Willie ain't been around.
He was.
Willie's all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to the hearing. 1 second. There we go. I'm gonna load up. There we are. Sorry. Okay, so moving forward. Are there any specific points? Well, where's the evidence? BK was there. Where is the factual evidence that he was there? If his phone was off, Dylan's phone was on, and she was there. Better suspect. And a lot of people believe that too, Snooper. I'm with you on that to some extent, 100%. Okay. So, are there any points, specific points you guys want to touch on with this hearing? That was why a lot of people wanted to talk about this stuff. Bring them on, guys. Let's do it. Let's see. I did see an interesting thread on Reddit that says the DNA is likely to be sweat or blood because of the amount needed for a swab. It is interesting. Let's see. Oops, excuse me. Thank you very much, SRB, for that. Again, something I very much appreciated, never expected, but thank you for anybody that chooses to support the channel or myself by the Amazon wish list thing there. That is very much appreciated as well. What DNA? Come on up here, Tomboy. Let's talk about it. Jody Walters in the house. Good to see you. The timing reports. Yes, that's a big deal with this, guys. It really is.
Do you think more motions are coming, Dago?
Oh my God, yes. Well, let me see here. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me put this whole thing up here for you guys to see, because that thing wasn't the whole thing. It's a little bit better there. All right. So, in a regulatory filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission today, AT&T, here she comes. There's the Tomboy. Welcome, Tomboy. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Tomboy.
The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission today, AT&T, said that cyber intruders accessed an AT&T workspace on a third-party cloud platform in April, downloading files containing customer call and text interactions between May 1st and October 31st of 2022, as well as on January 2nd of 2023. The company said the stolen data includes records of calls and texts for mobile providers that resell AT&T service, but that it does not include the content of calls or texts, social security numbers, dates of birth, and or other personally identifiable information. However,
Then what information is it grabbing? Just the call and what calls were doing? It must be number the numbers.
However, the company said a subset of stolen records included information about the location of cellular communications towers closest to the subscriber, data that could be used to determine the approximate location of the customer device initiating or receiving those text messages or phone calls. While the data does not include customer names, there are often ways using publicly available online tools to find the name associated with a specific telephone number that AT&T allowed. AT&T said that it learned of the breach on April 19th, but delayed disclosing it at the request of somebody else I don't see, but still.
So that's just saying number the number tracking. So basically it does number the number tracking and location.
This last part is really interesting to me. Why would that be really interesting to me, Tomboy? What'd you think? Are you here, Tomboy?
Hello? Where's the Tomboy?
You might be stepped away for a second.
No, I forgot to unclick the unmute button.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, you think you don't have it.
Thank you, Bemmy. Go ahead, Tomboy. What'd you say?
The dates: October 31st of 2022. What happened after that?
Yeah, there's a gap there.
Right.
That's what I was just thinking too. There's a gap there.
Well, it's what happened afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to say that somebody stole the data or the evidence. Not the evidence, but
they're saying a third party company.
They stole the data from
right.
Yeah.
It is quite interesting to me.
Yeah, because it's the Securities and Exchange Commission, so it has to do with the AT&T records across the board, not just his per se. But it's just weird that some of the dates that they're needing falls into that gap.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
It fits the
May
time frame.
October 31st.
Yep. Yeah. Very interesting. Thank you, Miss Annie, for putting that out there, as always. So what do you got, Tomboy? What are your...
I also want to know who on here asked the question about the DNA, something on Reddit.
I think that was a lady that dropped down.
JC?
I think she asked that.
No, it wasn't JC.
It was in the chat.
Let me go back and find it.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Anyway, the DNA that they claim, was his, was skin cells.
Right. Yeah. It was definitely skin cells. The other DNA that they I believe consisted of blood and something else too.
that would have been on the sheath itself, but it was a mixture. So
Right. Absolutely.
And why haven't we heard anything about all that red tape that was around door frames or door handles, entrance or exits? Why haven't we heard anything on that stuff either? About room door handles going in and out of
well,
rooms?
you probably won't hear anything about that until the trial,
Yeah, I
because
was
all these are
thinking.
just pretrial motions.
Because they had a lot of red tape, if you noticed in the photos right after the crime, around the front door and out that back sliding door, they had like red tape. That's got to be forensic evidence.
Right. Yeah. JC also brings up the IT update that happened on campus that night too, and I think that is kind of important to an extent. Okay. I think that they need to bring up anything and everything.
Also, you never heard about that.
Yeah, the night there was supposed to be internet outages in that area on the night of the crime too, or there was a server, or the university was doing resetting something.
That was the IT, the computer update that she's talking about right there. Exactly. And go ahead. What were you saying, Tomboy?
There's also been word of some department at the U of I that was filming the
Right.
that night,
Mm-hmm.
but you've never heard of that either. They said they turned over the tape to the Moscow Police Department. Well, where is it?
Yeah, why haven't we heard of it in the evidence or motions or any discovery?
Yeah, because if that's true, that was going on, there should be all sorts of shit on that tape. Okay. I would imagine.
If Ann Taylor got the proper phone dump from that night, it will tell you locations and everything from the advanced timing reports.
Right.
If there was a reason why she asked Payne, where were the videos of the two hotels? And miraculously that those were lost somewhere in the
right.
in the evidence department at Moscow PD. So I think something may have showed that they may not have been home.
Gotcha.
And she just wanted verification through those hotel videos.
Very good point.
Now, since they can't find them,
conveniently,
what's she left with?
Keister said that was more than an update. It was manually placed in park, which meant all functions remained uninterrupted, but no history was logged into the registry. No passcode entries, security data, etc., etc. That's really interesting.
She is correct.
So again, something like that during an event like this, or I'm sorry, an event like this happening.
Can't predict that. You can't predict that though.
Well, it was a maintenance. If I'm correct, wasn't it, or was it not?
Yeah, a quarterly regular server thing or something.
Right. So if that's true, if that's fact, something like that, I mean, an event like that happening during an episode or this situation should be pretty important if you guys ask me. Okay.
I wonder if they disclosed that to the university though. I wonder if that gets out all around students and everything aware of that.
Well, I would imagine they would have to, and if they didn't, that's probably a problem then. At least in my opinion.
Safety issue. I think a safety issue, a liability issue.
Well, and that's the thing is the Wi-Fi and all that runs the campus cameras and a bunch of other stuff that.
Yeah, the lights and.
Right. Okay. Let's see here. Where was I going? I forgot what I was going to do now. Thank you, Keister. That's interesting to know. No, it was not scheduled maintenance. It was manually done by someone who had access to the main server.
So you're saying a hacker?
Who worked? See, this takes me back to the beginning. Thank you, Keister. Who do we know that worked in the IT department at WSU or at Idaho in Idaho?
Supposedly KOHBERGER.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was that Idaho or WSU?
I think that was.
He was WSU, wasn't he?
That's what I was getting ready to say. Yeah, WSU.
Yep, WSU. Yeah.
Was it ever brought up though that anybody else within the group of people that we had looked into worked for that department or had anything to do with
Not
it?
that I recall.
I'm thinking.
That might be something interesting to look into.
Mm-hmm.
Dago, what are you eating for dinner? Okay, just checking.
It's coffee. You're muted, Dago.
WSU and Idaho often shared duties. Didn't we hear somewhere along the lines way back when that they had? Well, I know for one that they shared a 911 center. Would they use? Would the? I don't think the two campuses would use the same Wi-Fi server, would they? That'd be
interesting to know, but I don't know.
The only other data guy involved would be Brian. However, his knowledge had nothing to do with it. Right. Okay.
They wouldn't share the same Wi-Fi.
No.
That's too far apart.
It wouldn't be the same IP address anyway.
No. Huh. Okay. I wouldn't think so. No, this came out like the first week, Bemmy. We looked into it because we thought somebody shut it down on purpose. As in like a takedown.
Wasn't it some female professor that was in the IT?
I don't know, Don. I know that Brian had a female professor that he was taking
right.
class.
I was thinking she was IT or something.
No, that was the criminology professor.
The teacher that was teaching the criminology. Yeah.
Now that I did know, Keister, that KOHBERGER was a security guy for WSU, and I did think that was kind of interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the more I go back through some of this stuff, I know I cleared a long time ago.
There's stuff that you think's connected, and then it makes your head spin, and then it makes you go back, reevaluate, and then say, "Is this making any sense?"
Yeah. But what I was saying was that I know going back now, I remember kind of pushing KOHBERGER's situation off, saying there are two different situations. Just as bad. KOHBERGER's situation was just as bad, needed to be looked into. But the more that we look into things, the more that I go back through things, I almost wonder, is there a connection there somewhere? Was it purposely put off?
We may never know that either.
I don't know. Rolo, what's happening? It was stated that someone working security at UOFL disconnected the tower dumps. That's why no street cams caught footage. See, we heard that. Yeah, Rolo. I remember hearing that at the very beginning. Who was working security for UF that night? Banfield cops. Yeah, it's true too.
Or security guards, off-duty, like private company security guards.
Well, Idaho had no security. Their security was Moscow PD. We found that out.
Okay. I was thinking it could be because some places, like I know supermarkets and stuff, sometimes do contract with like private third parties.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Hitler say in one of these, didn't he ask about was there any footage from around Idaho or WSU?
I do believe so. I think I remember hearing that. That should be it. That's an interesting. That's interesting, Tomboy. That's very interesting.
More head spinning is what it is.
Yes. By the way, everybody, Mama Bear's probably going to be leaving us here shortly and heading off to bed because it's getting past her bedtime. But she's going to keep the channel up. You guys are more than welcome to stay over there on that side if you want to as well. For those of you that are over there, and the moderators will keep everything rolling, so you don't have to take off.
Don't fall asleep and leave her channel on.
Well, she'll get it handled. She gets up anyway, and when she gets into her sweets, and
yep,
she'll be good. we got it handled. Plus, I can handle some things over there too. So,
Yeah.
Either way, Mom Bear, before you do take off, I want to say thank you for being here with us and for doing everything you do. We appreciate you very much. So, if you
You're
haven't
welcome.
yet, guys, please make sure to hit the like button over there too.
You guys have a great night. I'll see you later.
All right, man.
Yep, you as well. Rest well.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So Maury said, yeah, he did. He asked if there was any Brady evidence in the W. That's right. Yes, he did. Well, that's another good question, though. There were, and this is another thing I've been delving into more recently again to you guys. When we first hit Idaho, and Tomboy, I think you remember this probably because you did speak on this not too long ago, but there were a lot of FBI agents in Idaho during a trafficking project for a while. They had a lot of informant students too. In the last few years, they arrested 45 high profilers in that business. Okay, so when we first learned about this, it came out in the very beginning that there was 50 plus agents on the ground supposedly in Moscow when this went down. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, that's
You're
what
right.
I heard. 50. Yeah.
I thought that's what I remembered hearing. So I've been thinking about that a lot lately with what we've learned recently and with things that I've been questioning, I should say. And I really have some questions. I'll just put it that way. That's all I can say at that point until I get more info, obviously, about that. This is another point here that Mojo, there's a lot of these little things, you guys, that are not being talked about, that have not been brought back to the table, that I think are important in some senses. The accident, good to see you tonight, Mojo. The accident that happened in front of Steptoe Apartments on November 12th, that's where Brian lives, that had the whole road and everything blocked off there, guys. That hasn't been brought back to the table. That hasn't been discussed again. And I think that's an important part of this too. Are you taking off,
what
Bobby?
time was that too? Timestamp will be key on that.
With 2 something, I thought.
2 a.m. I want to say maybe, yeah. Okay, Eve says 11:44. We may need to look back into that too. I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Very curious about that as well because of the ability that it would take away from that situation.
Yeah, take away from travel. Yeah, there'd be more people on the roads.
Right. F. Richard said there were 26 FBI on the Saturday before. Then there were 67 after the incident. Okay, thank you, sir. I do remember there being a lot. What they were doing, of course, we don't know 100%, but I have my thoughts.
Yeah,
because of things that were going on around. So let's see. I'm trying to keep up with you guys in chat to pull up what everybody's talking or thinking
They were
about.
probably going to all sources and connections with that many people. When that's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Stuff I put out 2 years ago being it. Listen, Rolo, I understand you said things years ago and you said barely was noticed. I get it, dude. You say it every time you're in here, but we're looking at it now. It's important. We were told not to look at that stuff back then, if you remember. And we all did what we were told, to trust the process. Well, we can't anymore, and we don't anymore, so we're looking at it now. It doesn't matter who put it out or what it was or who said what. It's about getting to the point of justice and truth. That's all. Notice Dana's last phone activity went from 412 to 316. Why was that done? What time did Banfield cops turn their cams off? 316. Okay. Good point. Good point. Tracy, hello and welcome. Thank you for being here.
Miss Patricia, if his phone was off, it wouldn't be in the dump. That's what they're saying. That's why that's how they know that it was off.
Oh yeah, if they did a tower dump and got 3,800, or I'm sorry, data on 2 victims, guy, and $3,800 wouldn't be case data be in the tower dump if he was in the area, or is that conveniently when the state says his phone was off? So yeah, what Tomboy just said. And that is a good question. That thing that Rolo brought up. Why the hell did that time thing on Xana's? What the hell was it, guys?
Yeah, it was an hour off. It seemed like it was an hour off, wasn't it?
in some seconds, yeah, or some minutes. I mean, they said initially it was 412, and then they said it was 316, right? So why did that change, and what is that all about? That's
Yeah,
another.
because an hour can make a big difference here.
Well, it sure does. It sure does, and it makes you wonder. That one little thing, in my opinion, can change the entire timeline. If you ask
Yeah,
me,
change the crime happened earlier than what they predicted.
very possibly, very possibly. Um, it's beyond weird. I agree with that, guys.
Then what would the sense of DoorDash be at 4 a.m.? That means that DoorDash would have been at 3 a.m.
Well, no, not necessarily. That could still be the same, but what if it is different? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
because
could
she'd
be
still be alive. As Zana would have still been alive then.
right, and it definitely could have changed the timeline for sure. Okay, that's a huge deal in my opinion. Kaylee and Maddie's last calls were at 2:52 or 2:56. Yeah. What time did Banfield body cam start? 2:53. This is true. We also see.
Wasn't
What
there
time
a
was it?
thing with the bar at the bar? Wasn't there a clock off too
I
on their security cameras or
think
whatever
yeah, I
at
think
the
so.
corner club? Said
I
that
thought
they and the
security
time
cameras
was
were set to
off.
bar time.
Hold on. Say it would right. I think so, Don. And what did you say, Tomboy?
I thought their security cameras were set to bar time.
Yeah, which is 15 minutes fast, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay. See? That's interesting. Moto Man, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Is it just
Just make
coincidence
sure
that
your head keeps spinning.
right? Is it just coincidence that the alibi was created at 2:15? Kaylee Gonsalves, Maddie Mogan made frantic phone calls starting around 2. They started around 2:23, I believe, and they stopped at till 2:56 is what we were told initially. Then you can hear those screams saying stop, stop in that one Banfield video. That is interesting. Again, thank you for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate that greatly. Very generous. They said that's what I was told, Rolo. That's why I'm saying it. 2:56 is when supposedly they stopped calling Jack. But we also, who was it, Tomboy, that made a phone call? Maddie made a phone call to Bethany at 2:50 something, didn't she too?
Yes.
Okay. Now, see, if you put all these times together and measure them out, it is kind of interesting to see what went on with that. You know what I mean? Let's see. TikTok record specified PST. Not sure what the DD records were in. Interesting. Santa said his phone was turned off. So they know for definite, not in aeroplane mode or not picking up. He said turn. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
but like Dago said earlier, if his phone was off, that means they would have had to have some kind of records to prove that was off.
I agree. And that Tomboy's the
Some
one that keeps throwing
tracking
it out there.
somewhere there would have been tracking to tell you the phone was off.
And they keep
Or how
telling
would you know it was off? Or
they
it was
keep
just
telling everybody,
stopped, or it stopped reporting at that time.
and they keep telling everybody that they didn't have that information.
It just doesn't make sense, doesn't add up.
It sure don't. Let me see here.
Unless they got more info than they're releasing and telling people that we just won't know until trial.
They can still locate it. The phone is off. That's true. Court document says 252. The 253 could be another MM. Yeah, I thought about that too. If it was the Matt or whatever her name was. Yeah, that's a good point, Rolo. All right. Hold on here. Let me move on with some of this now.
The history about where the timing advance records come from. When Mr. KOHBERGER was identified, I'm going to jump ahead and tell you why I think I should get to ask Nick Balance about these records. When Mr. Kohberger came to the attention of the state and they began doing search warrants for Mr. Kohberger's records. On December 23rd, there were 2 separate search warrants for Mr. Kohberger's AT&T records, and they requested timing advance records. And one of the pages that we gave you was the carrier request that said, give us 7 days worth of timing advance records. There were 7 days back, at least 7 days back at that time. Those have never been produced to us. What I've learned in working with Mr. Ray is that obtaining timing advance records now goes through a different process than it went before. FBI agents had a means to get these timing advance records before they were generally available to all of law enforcement. Generally available now comes through the GLDC program, and that happened in 2023.
But he's not indicated he has any evidence that, at least for this time of the murder.
Yes, he has. That's what I don't understand why he says that. Am I wrong, Tomboy? Any of you guys? Am I wrong that he has said in that affidavit that he can prove that, right? Anybody for that matter. Let me see. He did. I thought he did. Okay.
That those would still be in existence.
We've never heard from Nick Balance, who is FBI and who has the back door.
From AT&T.
You've heard from AT&T that GLDC did not produce these records in 2022. You've absolutely heard that from AT&T. What you haven't heard is the other way that...
The other way. I haven't heard that either. I've heard a general description.
It's in the damn documents, dude. Why didn't you read that? It almost seems like he conveniently ignored that sentence. It says it right there.
And I've heard in the affidavit that he received some once and they said, oh, no, don't use those. I don't know if those were acquired within the 7 days. He doesn't address the 7 days. And that's a glaring, particularly given the inflammatory language in that accusations in that affidavit, it's a glaring omission.
Your Honor, we don't even have the 7 days worth, which is what the carrier request says. That
the 7 days that he's back home?
Maybe.
I'll ask the state about those. If they receive those. I'm not sure their search warrant covered that time frame, but.
Your Honor, I would say that it did, and I would say their first search warrant was just a 48-hour period. It asked for timing advance records, but then the second warrant,
you would agree there's no evidence that AT&T provided those, or that those were still available by the time that Mr. Kohberger was identified?
Your Honor,
an officer of the court.
As an officer of the court, I would like to ask Nick Balance that, and here's why. Here's why. The things that I've learned is that the 7 days is on paper. Sometimes they go back further than other days.
What's the evidence of that, counsel?
Welcome, Mikey.
The evidence has been in the practice that I've learned from people that I've worked with.
You're giving me that testimony now?
I'm not giving you testimony. I'm answering the court's question.
Okay. But you've made some serious accusations against the...
Sounds like he wants the records.
Hiding evidence.
Where are the records?
And yet you've provided no factual basis. Zero.
He doesn't want her to say what she's saying right now. That's why he keeps cutting her off and shutting her down. Okay? That's my guess, okay?
Yeah.
He doesn't want her to say what she's saying. He doesn't want people to hear what she's saying. In turn, he's going to keep cutting her off and shutting her down. You need to be quiet and let her say what she's saying.
That evidence existed for them to be able to obtain it in December.
Your Honor, in April of, or I'm sorry, it was probably by the July date that I got it, of 2024, I got records from 2022. In some other time in 2024, I think it was May.
Well, he gave the name. He gave the name, Candy, of the gentleman. I can't think of his name right now. But he gave the name of the gentleman who they received the information from. But and she said that he has he's there. He can testify to that. And if they need I'm sorry, not he, but Ray can testify to that. And if they need the guy's testimony that did it, I'm sure he'd be able to do that. That's the proof per se. Is there documents of it? I don't know, but that would be more proof as well. But I think that Cy said this with the background, knowing that he can prove it, and they haven't allowed him to do it yet.
They want a source. That's what
I don't know that they will. Yes, the name of the gentleman that provided the records through the back door for the other case was, but not this one. Wait, am I missing something, Tomboy? What's up, Danger Zone? One such there he is, Boyd Jackson. That's who I'm talking about. Thank you, sir. He's the program director at AT&T that manages many of the programs that referencing Mr. Jackson is the primary contact for the FBI when requesting record outs. Is he gonna testify to what happened? Probably not, because the FBI probably said you're not going to say a word. Maybe, I don't know, but I think he needs to. If he's the one that they're claiming. If I'm right, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but he's the man that Cy has claimed that Ashley Jennings received the information from that she's claiming she doesn't have. Is that right or is that wrong? And that's what he says in that affidavit.
Sounds like it to me. That's what it was said. Or it was hidden or not disclosed.
Right. No, I don't think Ann's backing down, guys. I think she was just having a rough time. Like I said, she buried her mother 4 days before this hearing. So think about how you would feel in that mode. I don't think she's backing down. I think she's just a little broke down from that situation. He was explaining how he knows that the back door exists, but he never said the name of who possibly. I swear he did. I must have read it wrong then. The state is correct in their claim that AT&T GLDC did not provide law enforcement with AT&T timing advance reports until May of 23. As a matter of fact, in May of 23, the working group known as GLDC, correct, had only begun their storage of timing advance records. The first official release of AT&T timing advance was not provided to law enforcement until June 15th of 23 by GLDC. That's correct. But then he claims that the FBI used Boyd Jackson to go around the GLDC situation because it wasn't even one. That's who they used to receive this information. And that I'm pretty sure he knew for a fact, he said, that Jennings received it at that time. Right. So it went through the FBI. I think what needs to happen at this point is that we need to prove that Boyd Jackson handed that over to her. That's what needs to be proved at the point. Or at that point. If that's
how did Cy Ray get it before anybody else? That's another key question.
What do you mean?
Timing in advance, if there was that evidence, how would he know about it unless he had it some kind of inside details or info on it?
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, let me see here. Oh, yeah. No, I understand. Absolutely, Kenny. I get what you mean. Yes. Okay.
I got 3,800 people's timing advance
because they were asked within 7 days of the date that they sought it. It was the tower dump from the night of the murder asked within the 7 days.
I understand that.
Okay. So where is the evidence that Mr. KOHBERGER's timing advance records from AT&T were available to anybody in December without a prior request that they save those?
Well, I don't know if they made a prior request that they save those.
Well, they wouldn't because they didn't know who he was.
You're correct. They didn't know who he was until I think about December 19th.
Correct.
Their warrant for his full scope of records, the second AT&T warrant, asked for all of the records. I haven't seen any of them. That's even if they were just the 7 days back, I haven't seen any of
What
them.
you're talking about now is a discovery issue of those 7 days that don't sound like they're particularly relevant to the murder. That's a discovery issue you can take up with the court through a motion to compel,
Okay,
which you
Tomboy.
have not filed. It's not an evidentiary issue in which you can lay down Mr. Ray's conspiracy theory without any evidence at trial.
Your Honor, we have litigated this issue quite extensively throughout the course of the case. The timing advance records, once I understood how timing advance works, became very important. We've heard different things now than I've heard at different times in the past about this, particularly about the 7 days. That's newer information to me now. But the carrier request forms tell me I should at least have that. I want the court to know that we have had motions to compel on this very issue. We have had different bits of information.
For the 7 days that are after December, in December?
No, Your Honor, because the 7 days is something that's newer and has been brought to my attention
Our
more
motion to
recently.
compel related to timing advance records for November 13.
Our discovery requests were for all of Mr. Kohberger's timing advance records. Our motions to compel covered all of them too. I have this carrier request now that says 7 days, and I have the affidavit now that says 7 days. Those are not things that I always knew when we were litigating this issue.
Okay.
Those are new bits of information. To me, it is a little bit problematic that there's been things that have changed and there might be records out there. Given what you have now with the affidavit with 7 days,
I agree.
if you imagine you didn't know that and you...
I understand your confusion and concern previously. What I don't understand it is now.
And that is, that's, you know what, putting all this aside, the biggest part of this is what she just said right here. There's definitely more to this. There's definitely proof of this. I do not believe that this man with 30 years experience would put all that on the line to make a statement so strong enough to be able to get somebody disbarred without having some form of proof of this. That's all I'm saying. And that's what the problem is, because that information is beyond exculpatory to Brian and could prove his innocence to the highest level at that point, okay? So yes, I agree exactly. That's exactly it right there, Candy, what the problem is that I have with this whole thing and why it's so important. Very good point. Very good point.
In light of the evidence, I don't understand Mr. Ray's accusations without addressing the 7 days.
And that's exactly what my thought was too, that it seemed like Hitler was afraid to let him speak on record. I can only imagine why. Think about it. Okay? Think about why he would be worried about letting this man speak on record. That's a great point.
That he had that information when he submitted his affidavit.
He is available to testify if the court wishes for him to.
It's his obligation and your obligation to establish that evidence of that the state has this, and you haven't done that. His affidavit is quite extensive.
Hang on, guys. It did it again. Sorry. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. There we go. we're going to move past this part of this topic here in a moment too. Because what he's saying is true. Hitler's scared. Hitler was absolutely afraid. I believe he was too. I fixed it. Thank you, Alicia. Hitler prevented him from appearing and from explaining. The look on Jennings' face when he said, disbarred, where's it? Yeah, it was actually. I agree with that one, Rolo. That was true. Okay. Back to where we were. Sorry about that.
And he seems to ignore that issue.
Your Honor, I believe that issue is touched on with his knowledge that these kinds of records existed a long time before.
He said that in a very general way about that without reference to the 7 days. And he had supposedly received them from some FBI expert to look at for his company, and then was told not to use them. So I don't know, maybe the FBI got them in a way that they weren't supposed to at that time, for all I know. He didn't name names, he didn't identify it, he didn't put it into any context. The state had indicated, and they provided AT&T's sworn testimony that they only keep them for 7 days. And yet he makes the accusations that he did in his affidavit without addressing that 7-day issue at all. And so I guess my point is if you want to cross-examine the witnesses about why didn't they rely on the AT&T timing information?
And I think I said this the other day. I think he didn't address the 7-day thing because it didn't exist. It's proven already. We went through it yesterday and the day before that the 7 days didn't exist. It was bullshit. That's why I think Sai didn't address it in that document. That's my opinion, of course. But I do believe that was why. Because it wasn't 7 days. It was 7 years.
And you've got to show some factual foundation that was available to them by the time Mr. KOHBERGER was on their radar as it relates to November 13. And I'm not seeing that as the problem.
My first question to Special Agent Balance, who would be the person who would have gotten these through a different channel through the FBI, would have been, did you get them? Because I've heard different things along the case, asking him the question is really what I wanted to be able to do. And that's why I opposed this motion and prepared it as I did.
Tell you what, I'll let you ask that question outside the presence of the jury.
Thank you.
At the time of trial.
That will satisfy me. Thank you.
I'm not upset, but I just for Mr. Ray's information, because he wasn't here the first day I started this trial with you folks. I said, I don't want theatrics. I don't want accusations that aren't supported with evidence about supposed bad conduct of the parties. You're all professionals. I respect you all. And the accusations he made in there are very concerning. The kinds of accusations, if true, that would get people disbarred. And so without any evidence and apparently sidestepping the clear explanation, he makes those. And so that doesn't make me happy.
And to address the court's concerns of what's
Very good point, Dan. 100%. Existence is well known to the investigators and prosecutors. Amen. Thank you, sir.
been raised, I think the only issue out there, I have the 2 search warrants. The state asked for the AT&T timing advance records in our search warrants. The state wanted that information from Mr. KOHBERGER. We did not receive it. I did not receive those records from AT&T. I do not have them. Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't believe that.
All right. There's not been a showing that those records were available, and I think it would be unfairly prejudicial to try to impeach the testimony of the agent that somehow he hid or didn't provide or didn't use records that he didn't have available to him. So absent some factual showing that he had them available, I'm not going to allow questions about that, and I'm not going to allow testimony about that. Now, if you want to avoid, and like I say, It's not going to be allowed for evidentiary value. It will be a part of the testimony. Whoever
Hang on a
testifies is
minute.
going to have to testify that it helped surrounding events. What do I do? One, should the 911 call come in? And second,
Runner has our exhibits.
For each of those two things, it generally means
We just want a demonstrative
in court. I can see them. Mr. Kohberger's confrontation rights about how that's drawn exist right then and there if they're drawing something on the board. This is an exhibit that's constructed outside. It's done in preparation.
That's the whole point that I was trying to make too, Dan. There's clear and convincing evidence that not only was the FBI able to obtain those AT&T timing records in 22, but they did so with the knowledge of the prosecutors involved in the case. That's the whole point right there. And it should be being addressed, and it's not. He keeps going back to that stupid 7-day bullshit. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a minuscule piece of information that was put out there to try to be used as an excuse. It doesn't exist. It's bullshit. I'm sorry. Right. Those are his words in an affidavit at risk of perjury, and they ignored that. Thank you, Dan. Very good points. Anyway, we need to move past this because we could talk about this all night because it's a big deal. Yeah, that is what that meant, LL. Same reason the defense isn't allowed to say they are trying to kill our client. He is intimidating her with, are you trying to get her disbarred? If she listen, y'all, I don't like to see anybody lose their job, but if you're gonna, this is somebody's life in your hands. And if you're gonna lie and twist something or make something happen to get your way, and it's gonna take somebody's life, I'm sorry. I don't care about your job. I don't care about your job at all. Sty already has testified in 24 about how he knows that they exist and how he knows where they came from, but nobody actually seems to have picked up on it. Yeah, I got it. I know what you're talking about. I remember that. They won't allow him. They won't bring him in and let him do this. That's the problem, because I think they know. They know. That's all there is to it. And that's pretty much, in my opinion, that's all there is to it. So, moving forward here a little bit. Hold on.
Your Honor, his affidavit, I think, starts before to explain to the court some of the history about where the timing advance records come from. When
speech that I gave to you both
to the court, Agent Balance was co-located with investigators in this case from the very early days, just a couple of days after the killings took place. He is somebody that the prosecutors have had meetings with and have had ready access to throughout the course of the proceeding. So it's not like he's a stranger that they couldn't get his report from him. He has offered his PowerPoint with no analysis of these phone transactions, no analysis of the mapping that was done. And to understand that he conducts drive testing and he carries around a scanner when he does his drive testing, and that scanner will collect data about which towers are working at that given time. So you can get a lot more accurate information about where a device might be. The other way to look at what devices are doing is when you're looking at different cell towers and the phone transfers from one to the other as the phone might move around in a car. But the drive test data working with that shows you a place where there's a tower, all the places that there might be coverage. And then if the phone hands to the next tower, it'll show you that coverage too. So you can see limits, you can see gaps in where coverage is, and that helps you identify where a phone is more. Agent Balance hasn't analyzed all of the data he collected, nor has he told us what it means. So for Agent Balance, the court should preclude his testimony about the last 7.
I might do that, Mallory. It's a good point.
7 minutes, and the court should preclude the rest of his testimony, really. I think the state's initial disclosure was that he was going to talk about cell towers and how they work with cell phones. That might be fine. Anything else, they shouldn't. I want to tell you, though, while we're on the topic of that last 7 minutes, that it's more problematic.
That was part of the initial disclosure, correct?
The PowerPoint, I believe, was provided as the disclosure.
Did he testify for the grand jury?
No, nope. Officer Mowry, Detective Mowry testified before the grand jury. Agent Balance did not. So I don't have any of his testimony. But I want to tell you about the 7 minutes. And I want to tell you that those are problematic. When the phone's moving, when Brian's phone's moving the last 7 minutes before it goes off the network, and you look at the locations of where the phone was, it places the phone in a place at 2:54.45 in the morning. And for Agent Balance to ignore that, there's a cascading impact on other bits of testimony that will come in. So it's imperative.
That's just impeachment.
Well, it's actually exculpatory to Mr. KOHBERGER, so it's worse than that.
Well, there's that square of time again. 2:54 a.m. seems to pop up, give or take 3 minutes or 1 to 2 minutes on either side of that. It's quite interesting to me.
You're doing this in the frame of a motion related to the expert disclosure, and so his opinion is what his opinion is, and he's disclosed what he's disclosed. And let's just hypothetically say he can't opine about the last 7 minutes because he hasn't disclosed that. And I haven't gone through in enough detail to make that conclusion, right? Isn't that then just a matter of you putting on testimony from your expert about that 7 minutes and impeaching him about, you didn't even look at the last 7 minutes. You missed that. And what could that mean? Couldn't it mean, as my expert, obviously your expert won't have testified by then, but impeach him essentially on his lack of diligence, as you would put it.
Absolutely, Joan.
Well, I anticipate impeaching for the lack of diligence. Here's the fear, though. I don't know what he's going to say about those 7 minutes, so I want to impeach him about that. I want to impeach him about a whole lot more, too. But if I do, and he says, well, I did analyze it, actually, I hope the court's order stands and he's not allowed to talk about it.
You have to be careful about what doors you open. But
I agree. And when the court said that, it made me think of that. Going back to what I'm asking you to exclude, I'm asking you to exclude everything that wasn't contained, and there's no opinion, there's no analysis contained in that original PowerPoint. There's just PowerPoints with a few things on them that he won't be able to explain because
they did supplement and explain, at least in some detail, more about what each slide kind of means, as I understand it.
Well, Your Honor, that comes back to kind of where we started with the state waiting to see what we had. That's not how this works. In the adversarial system where the prosecution has the burden of proof, we can sit at the defense table and do nothing. I don't have to produce a thing. They have the burden always to prove the case. And what they've done is they've turned that upside down. They've essentially and figuratively shifted the burden by holding on to what they had, even though they have the duty, and said, show us yours first, and then we'll rebut your experts. And that's just not the way it works. And I think the court...
Exactly, and that's what they've been doing. That's what the biggest problem with this whole thing is. She's absolutely right. Defense doesn't have to do anything with this, and they have turned this into the point to where she has to do everything. And there's something wrong with that. That's a problem.
Courts should look at their disclosure deadline, and they didn't go home from the January 23rd and 24th hearing when the court said your job's not done, I'm not going to allow things in that aren't disclosed. They didn't go home and say, we got to get this done now. They trickled things in bits at a time. And That is just not the way the system works. And that's in violation of Mr. Kohberger's rights. And we're asking the court to limit it. What they gave us on December 18th, that's what they get to talk about. There was no opinion in there, no real analysis in there. And that's our position. And that's the way to bring it back and keep the burden at the table it should be and protect the due process rights and the right to a fair trial at the table it should be. In our filing, I won't read it all to you. We had a lot to say about that with Agent Balance.
Search warrant application include the analysis of the cell teller information?
Did the search warrant application include the analysis? Let me think what the search warrant application said first.
That large, omnibus document that they used.
Oh, Exhibit 1 that was attached to all of them.
Attributed to, if not the signatory, but the FBI CAS team.
Okay, so besides this here, what we're hearing, is there anything else in specific anybody would like to talk about with this? That's what this is all about. A lot of people said they wanted to discuss things and bring certain things up. So I'm here, guys. Let's do this. If anybody has anything specific or pointed that they want to go at, I'm down. I'm with you. I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's get there. Because in the end, I mean, it's all a mess. The whole thing's a mess. We could talk about this.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see if they had dates and times and stuff like that, or that stuff. If it's there, it's got to have that somewhere.
Agreed. There should be. It should be for sure. Most definitely.
And that's what's throwing me for a loop.
No, I understand.
Different parts of the affidavit. There was the factual part of the affidavit that Moscow Police Department, various members of the police agency used it, the same affidavit or a couple different versions of that same affidavit. There was a part that I don't think Nick Balance ever signed it. I think he dictated it.
Were you on notice of what?
David Loach, another person that needs to be, that a lot of people are asking about. David Loach, David Baracoa. Bingo. Those names are been brought up a lot. They're all over the 4chan and the Reddit posts, all that. Yeah. I've been looking into that stuff and thinking about it more recently again. I'd still like to know where they got. I think we all want to know, Angel, because nobody understands that. Somehow I missed until recently the latent footprint that was cleaned up. Yes, a lot of people knew about that early on. Be careful saying their names, in my opinion. Oh, I got you. They were brought up. DL and DB. Barry, quite a few times. I'll just put it that way. You're okay, Paula. You're still here. No worries. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of the little things, you guys, that have been avoided, displaced, forgotten, for lack of better terms, and I think those things need to be either resurfacing or revisited. Okay. Sometimes I think Miss Taylor is too cautious with her words and emotions. Well, with this judge, if you notice, Tippy, it doesn't seem like she has a choice. I think she needs to be to some extreme because he goes at her. He never lets her talk. You know, the only one I think in here that has zero fear and is kind of like bring it on is Alyssa Massive, this little firecracker here in the middle. She doesn't seem to care one shit what he thinks of her, and I respect that like you wouldn't believe. Like I said, Anne seemed a little weaker here, and I think it's because of losing her mom very shortly before this. It's very sad. And that'll take a lot out of you guys. This is a very heavy case, and to deal with that too is just very sad to me. So I think that's why she was a little more lackadaisy that day, little bit more, downplayed, I think. And I don't blame her. I don't. It's sad.
The state's version through the CAS team of what that data showed.
If I look at the affidavits, there are a few things, yes, that I would be on notice for. They're not attributed to Nick Balance.
Agreed.
There are a few things. those are the problem areas, and I don't want to open doors that I shouldn't. I mean, I either need his analysis if I'm going to open the door, or he doesn't get to talk about it. And let me tell you what I mean.
About the adversarial part, I also looked then in that case at what information you did have about what the state's case was. And so, you know, it seemed to me that in general that cell analysis was part of that, because part of the motion on your part was the missing 7 minutes.
That definitely was part of the motion, and now for the first time, I know he actually analyzed it. What that affidavit, those two affidavits, I would tell you about 3 parts that could be attributed to any cell analysis, and then I'm going to tell you the problems with those 3 parts too. The first is that the phone went off at 2:47 a.m., which it did not. It did not. That's untrue. The other is that the phone was traveling towards Moscow when it went off, and that's absolutely untrue as well.
I recall the 47 said it was traveling southwest.
Well, that's what we say. That's what the record shows.
That's what the application said.
The application said that the phone stopped reporting to the network at 2:47 a.m.
Traveling southwest at the time, southwest of Pullman.
That's not when the phone stopped reporting.
I realize that, but it's not like they were representing that it was at 2:47, you know, halfway to Moscow or traveling to Moscow. It said it was southwest of Pullman, which, as I understand, the 2:52, 54,
70.
7 minutes later indicates that it was traveling southwest of Pullman.
None of the search warrant affidavits have anything about 2:54.
And this is something I think you guys that needs to be really paid attention to. This is really important. Listen, think about something. Think about you driving down the road. Okay? Because I know me. This is a younger guy. And I'm sure that he doesn't follow the exact speed limit all the time, especially out in the open road areas. Those, like, that's country roads out that way. So 7 minutes in a car driving in a distance it means a lot. Okay. You realize the distance you can drive in 7 minutes, you guys? You can get a pretty good distance on in 7 minutes. That's why this is kind of really important to me. And I think it needs to be really paid attention to by them. They need to see it for what it is. Bobby, good to see you, brother. Ann's been around long enough to know how to read a judge, know what to say and not to say to the judge, and how far she can or cannot push. Yeah, I agree with that too, Bobby. I do. What are you saying here? Rolla Cole, Berenberg, Colby Pugh, Saeed, Chick Ali, which is, the butchy eyebrows guy, and the Banfield cops. Keep an eye on those being the main person assistants, among many others, and all this is public. Oh, okay, I got you, bud. Got you. I mean, I'm truly feeling that way too, Tippy. I mean, it's got to be hard. So anyway, yeah, definitely.
It was.
I understand that. My point is, the time was wrong, but the point, the direction of travel is the same.
I kind of would like to get to know that, understand that too, Mittens. I don't know why they said that. That's an interesting, a very curious thought. Oh, hey,
I'm
Contessa.
gonna drop down, Dago, because my tablet's at like 5%.
That's okay, bud. We're going to be shutting down here soon too, and picking up maybe
Okay,
tomorrow.
I just wanted to let you know. Thanks for letting me come on panel.
That's no, anytime, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate having you here. Always appreciate having you guys up here. So, plus, if you're not from the area, the road that he took is kind of windy. Yes, I agree. From what I saw of it, and only 2 lanes, so it's not like he was going 75 miles an hour. Agreed. So, that's what my big thing is right there. That's a big deal to me. That's probably the biggest thing out of this hearing that I took. That and another statement that was made about the possibility of 2 suspects with 2 separate weapons. That's a big deal to me as well. Let me see here. Angel Bonds, welcome. The time being wrong by 7 minutes when the distance is 10 minutes is significant. Very much significant, in my opinion. Thank you, Mikey. Again, thank you to anybody that chooses to support us via the Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. It's never expected, guys, but we really do appreciate it. It helps me pay the bills, the internet, the StreamYard, and all the other little things that we need to keep this show going day after day after day after day. If we didn't have that stuff, for all the generous people that choose to do that, we wouldn't be here, guys. So thank you guys so very much. Again, not expected, but very much appreciated. God bless. Again, thanks, Mike.
There are paragraphs in the affidavit that talk about the phone traveling towards Moscow. There are slides in Agent Balance's PowerPoint that have an arrow, and that's not
Thank
true.
you, Contest.
Well, there is a in the search warrant affidavit, I think as part of the PowerPoints, I don't remember the language it used, but basically the believed route of travel or something like that. In other words,
that's I want to move up to that because I think that. Hold on here.
To seek suppression of the Amazon records because the warrants were extremely broad. We expected to be getting significant data or have.
Judge, this is pretty simple. Shane Cox and Mike Douglas.
Understand any unusual demeanor or mannerisms he may have as a result of issues. That out.
Death is different. That's been said time and time again throughout the United States and state courts as well. So we need to be able to review all of the discovery. We need to meet that obligation, and we cannot. 68 terabytes in our briefing there that I need to know. We were disclosed a bunch of email communication between different law enforcement officers, different lab personnel.
This stuff here was really interesting to me. This is what I'm talking about.
I probably have read about half of those by now, and different parts of our team have read different parts of it, but we don't have it completed yet. Those are some quick examples that I can give you. I've looked at every picture, and I believe Your Honor, we are asking the court to strike the death penalty as well as issue some additional rulings in this case as it relates to the discovery issues. Your Honor, we're asking the court to look at this not as a Brady violation, but as a due process violation. And it's important to understand a little bit more about the discovery to do that. First, I'll start.
Yeah, that's what that means. Good point, Bobby. That Ann is realizing what limits that are being placed on her by the judge's rulings to impeach a witness without opening any doors that the defense doesn't want to open up, because that could harm their side of the case. So yes, good point, Bobby. Thank you. What is up, Saj? Good to see you, Saj. Thank you for joining us, Saj. Always a pleasure. James Moen, wonderful to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here. You're all appreciated very much.
Start with defense counsel's obligation. In any case, defense counsel has the obligation to meet its constitutional requirements of effective assistance of counsel, and that means that we have a duty to investigate any of the state's claims and review the state's discovery. There's a heightened sense of that responsibility in a capital case. Death is different. That's been said time and time again throughout the United States and state courts as well. So we need to be able to review all of the discovery. We need to meet that obligation, and we cannot. 68 terabytes in our briefing. I won't repeat it all here, but
I don't have a clue of what's in there in some senses, because I don't know how much of that is music, how much of that is video and movies off personal devices, how much of that is things that no reason to look at.
Well, the problem is, Your Honor, there is a reason to look at it. There are tons and tons.
Why didn't you bring a motion earlier asking for intervention to have me do other things and rather waiting to tie it to the death penalty at the end.
She brought this up how long ago, you guys? She brought it up with Judge. Oh, for God's sakes.
I'd say that's a bit of a mischaracterization of what's happened.
The first time we met, you told me about having received the state's discovery and the number of terabytes. And the first question I asked you was, have you looked at it? And you said, no, you hadn't yet looked at it. And we talked about the trial date, and I moved the trial date back a little bit for that. And I haven't heard a word since then that you haven't had enough opportunity to review the discovery or to do the discovery.
Well, I'm here to tell you now that we haven't reviewed all of the discovery. Over the course of the case, there have been multiple emails and letters back and forth with counsel about discovery. We've had motions to compel discovery. When I first met you, I was very candid with you about the size of discovery and that our team had not looked at it all. Since that time, we've continued to receive additional discovery. And probably most importantly, that brings us to now, why now? I think that's a fair question. Since we began with the expert disclosures, and I'm not going to go all the way back through that, I talked about that exhaustively, but that was a real turning.
Tippy, Cyree submitted an affidavit via the defense that states in a very quick nutshell that there was information received via the prosecution that could be exculpatory to Brian that they have omitted from the court that basically could show that he was innocent of this and that they've lied to cover up a much bigger issue per se. And that's what he said word for word. That's really all it is. And there's proof out there that it happened, which is why he made such a big deal about it, saying that it could disbar somebody, because it could, and it could actually flip this case upside down and throw it out of court if it's proven to be true. So that's pretty much all it is, Tippy. But it's a pretty serious issue. So
Turning point for us, that when you're moving along with a schedule and a pace, in this case, especially with the sizable amount of discovery, and I want to tell you what's in there in just a second too, but we're moving along at a specific pace, and the expert disclosures, we've talked a lot about that, and those were not adequate. The court told the state to do a better job. We've talked exhaustively about that, but that disrupts the flow of everything that we're doing when that happens. We had worked diligently to get motions filed and to get our other motions that were being heard in January prepared and to meet our expert disclosure. And now in the time since January 24th, we've had repeated meetings with experts with new information here to find out what it means, new information there to find out what it means. And it just hasn't allowed for enough time to focus on the discovery. And that's not all. We have these motions in limine. We've talked quite a bit about the dollhouse and the issues with the dollhouse. That takes time. Everything like that takes chunks of our time. We don't have all the discovery reviewed. That discovery consists of thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of police reports. I know the court has a little bit of a glimpse of that. The court asked the state to give them Detective Mowry's police reports that he authored. I think it took him 10 days to get them all gathered up to the court. That's one officer. That's just one officer. We have, I think, over 15,000 photographs.
4 years in the fall?
No. Now, he's been through a lot because we've had a little bit over 2 years. Possibly can work on this case. We have understood the court's.
Have you gone to?
Or not.
That led to Mr. KOHBERGER's arrest. So yes, there was a massive amount of discovery. We extracted cell phones for anyone that had any kind of connection to the victims. We gathered surveillance video for weeks, if not months, of random places throughout Moscow trying to figure out what happened.
There very likely are vehicles, light and color, white or silver, on all kinds of different cameras. Those could be Brady depending on what
Air and whether that can be conducted remotely.
So yeah, guys, I want to know more about, and we're going to look into that too coming up, maybe over the weekend at some point. The possibility of two suspects with two different weapons. The alternative suspect she brings up in here as well. Another alternative suspect. I want to look into those things and talk about those things as well coming up over the weekend. But we're at 3.5 hours now. I don't want to keep you guys in here too long, and it's getting late. So it's always good conversation, great stuff. I really appreciate you guys always being here. I agree, Joanne, that happened too. God, you guys are killing me. I wish I could get pizza or DoorDash or something. It's a monstrous mess, Sarge. Monstrous. 100% monstrous. And there's too much of it to be able to wrangle back in. You know what I mean? It's just a disaster. Complete disaster. So you guys are making me hungry now. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. What's up, Hemisphere? Good to see you, buddy. Sorry that you jumped in at the end, but I still appreciate you jumping in.
Oh, it's okay. I just got home, so
that's okay. I appreciate you being here either way. But those are what I want to know about. I really want to know about what's going on with the possibility that she brought up of the two suspects with two separate weapons, possibly. And I want to know the alternative suspect brought up because there's in a document we read not too long ago, it states that Mr. KOHBERGER is ready and willing and will be bringing forth the possibility of multiple, and these were the words in the document, folks, multiple alternative suspects. And this is the important part, that are more realistically closer to the victims than he is. And those aren't the exact words, but that is what that means. Meaning people that the victims knew, as compared to this guy sitting here that they had no idea who he was and he had no idea who they were.
And the prosecution has to know that BK did not do this.
I think they do.
They know exactly who it is, and the only thing they're holding out for is for his alibi, because they said he was out driving around. Well, we know you was driving around.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you cut off. He was out looking at the stars. You didn't include that, Bill.
Yeah, they forgot to throw in there. They forgot to throw in there that that WSU threw out a flyer and an announcement that there was a meteor shower that night, that they told the students, go check it out if you don't have nothing to do tonight. Well, guess who probably went to go check it out?
And I believe Code Harley, they're protecting the integrity of this case because they know if they let Rated in to talk about that, and he's got all the charts and everything that goes with it, I still don't understand why he's going to let that in the trial, but outside of the jury. That just gets me. That's something that you need to address like right now.
Oh yeah, I can agree. Definitely.
Why wait until trial? That blows me away. I can't believe this. What are you protecting?
Yep.
What are you protecting this for?
Is it what or who are you protecting?
Right.
There's definitely something there for that.
If you remember, the medical examiner that examined the bodies said that the wounds are so big, it was a lot bigger than the K-bar.
Oh yeah.
So that was already ruled out a long time ago. It was just a knife sheath. And that's the only thing that got tied into it. So, and I've heard other theories, just like everybody else, says that Kopaka and KOHBERGER know each other, and way long before they even went to Washington, they've known each other since Pennsylvania. So they've been best friends. I've heard that theory.
Right.
So Not saying that Culpepper had anything to do with it. I don't know, but it's just weird that they got him buying the knife sheath in Pennsylvania under the Amazon account
Mm-hmm.
that was bought and paid for in January. What before the murder? So what? How you plotting and planning a murder in January of people you don't even know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what they want us to believe, bro. That this man conspired and premeditated this murder of 4 people 8 months to a year before it happened without even having targets at that point. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
At all. At all. And they know this. They don't know. I'm hoping that whenever they do get back, because Kepler told the defense, say, get your uh, if you could prove other people that did this, he's going to let them come to court and prove it before trial.
Right.
I'm looking forward to that because I like to see what happens. But golly, I wish they would let Cyrate come into the dang on hearing.
Well, I think something's going to happen there. I'm expecting another document from Cy after this hearing. I really am, and I know that we got. Give me a minute here. And yeah, Maury is right. I agree with this. Good reason to wait until trial because you swear in a jury, you allow jeopardy to be attached, and then you miss trial with prejudice, and that puts everybody on notice. Hey, we tried to tell you. 100%. That's a great statement, sir. I agree with you on that.
And you know what? I was thinking about that too. Maybe that's the reason why Kepler did it the way he did it, to make sure he's going to put everything right there in front of God and everybody.
It could be.
Here it is.
Very well could be, sir. I can agree. So we got, let's see, what is today now? The 11th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 2 more exhibits sealed. Stipulated motion to seal exhibit, filing to exhibit D. Wait, filing notice of exhibit D. We got more documents. There's going to be more coming. I'm kind of holding out to get them all because I think we'll see more. Today's Friday. We'll see more by Tuesday, and he'll have his rulings in.
Because earlier when you was playing it, I'm not going to take up more of your time. I know you.
No, you're all right. You're all right.
But anyway, Hipper gets stuck on that 7 days.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, okay, so if the tire dump happened the week of the 13th when the murders happened, they didn't even know about Brian Kohlberger until the 19th.
They say so, yeah.
So the math ain't mathing.
No, it does. It hasn't throughout this whole thing. I agree with you. I do agree.
Even though what I'm saying is when they did the tire dump, it wouldn't matter anyway because Brian Kohlberger was nowhere involved in that.
Thank you.
Make it make sense.
Good. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. It doesn't make sense. Nobody can make it make sense. It doesn't at all. It's ridiculous.
So him getting stuck on 7 days is irrelevant.
Well,
and Brian, even Bill Thompson even said it. It's all irrelevant. The PCA, everything is irrelevant to the case.
Yep.
Because they don't have anything.
I don't believe so either. I don't think so
either. They don't. They just trying to please everybody, to get the students to go back to school and get that house torn down so everything can get right back to normal because they had the parents of the victims constantly on them to get a perpetrator.
Yep.
So they rushed it and they put an outsider and locked his ass up for 3 years now and took his life away. pretty
Yeah,
much. He ain't. His life is over with.
Right. Yep.
I believe that cold-heartedly because I just know small towns. They're all about that school.
Yes, sir. Yes,
If
sir. That's
that
what it's all
school
about.
is not in session, they ain't got nobody going to school. That whole town suffers. Period.
Agreed.
It
Agreed.
was a cleanup job. They all was in over their heads. They didn't know what was going on. So hey, let's just blame the outsider. Shoot, let's just sweep it all up underneath the rug, and whatever we find out, we'll just go ahead and go on about our normal day. Now you got, it's just got a lot of question marks about your model of the house.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's total bullshit to me, man.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's an understatement, but yes, it is. It is very much so. Well,
Anyway,
thank you. Thank you for I appreciate your input very much.
Yeah. Look forward to the next live. Hopefully I'll catch you sooner.
That sounds good.
I just thought I'd come in here and share that little thought, man. That just burned me up ever since that trial, though.
I get it. I get it. That's what it's all about. Sharing your opinions, thoughts, your feelings, all of it. And I appreciate hearing every single one of you do it. It means something and it makes sense. And it's very important to me as far as I'm concerned. Someone said the whole state would suffer. The Idaho relies on that university. Well, I don't know about the whole state, but I guarantee you that local area, 100%, Pamela. So yeah, but thank you again, Hemisphere. I appreciate you, brother, and hopefully you will be able to jump in sooner next time. I appreciate that.
Well, good, brother.
All right, we'll see you soon. And that's gonna do it, guys. Now that everybody's starving to death, I hope you guys enjoy your DoorDash and your pizza very much. But I appreciate you guys being here as always. Always a good conversation, good topics to talk on, and just it's always a great conversation as far as I'm concerned. Everybody gets very good points out there, and maybe we get a little closer to understanding to it, a little bit closer to understanding what's going on every day. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I don't know, but one of these days it'll make sense or it won't. Either way, it's always a good conversation. So thank you all once again for joining us. Once again, guys, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. So thank you all, every one of you. Welcome to the 12 new meatballs that have been thrown into the sauce today. That is so very much appreciated, and gracious to everybody that handed out the memberships. Anybody that donated to the channel, God bless. Once again, you hear me say it all the time. We don't expect you guys to do that. That is not what it's about being here, but we do appreciate it so much because it does keep us going. Thank you to my amazing Blue crew. I wouldn't be here without you. I wouldn't even try it because you guys make it happen, guys. I love you guys to death, 100%. And everybody else in here, guys, don't forget to love yourselves. That's more important than anything, and love each other, please and thank you. Don't change nothing. You guys are the beautiful people, and I promise you guys, I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye, y'all.
Typing at the speed of light, hunting down the shadows, bringing wrongs to right, digging deep in the data, facts sharp as a knife. With every single story, he's fighting for a life. A voice for the voiceless, he won't stay quiet. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. Streaming loud and clear, cracking cases, open hearts filled with fear. These channels are beacon in a world gone wrong. He guides us through the chaos, a soldier so strong. The clicks and the lights, they follow his lead. With every new case, he plants a new seed. Sharing their stories, giving hope where it fades. Daniel's a warrior through the trials he waits. In a world of silence, he shouts out their names. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. From the shadows you rise, screaming loud and clear. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim's story, he pulls out the strings. A hero in the darkness, and the truth he brings. From the shadows and loneliness, he won't let us fall. Bringing the truth out, answering the call. For every soul forgotten, he's here to stand tall. Tangle the genuine, he'll always give it his all. Daigo's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim's story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the